On this episode of Tastycast, we'll be discussing game releases for July. A little late, I know, but we're going to talk about it. It's already the 16th as of recording, so we're going to talk about it. We're going to be talking about Valve's new Steam Deck that was announced. I'm sure you guys have heard about it. We're going to discuss it. We're going to talk about what we've been playing, of course. We're going to read your comments and reply to them. And we're going to talk about Assassin's Creed Infinity and try and figure out what we make of it and if it's something we even want. Before we jump into this episode, I need to let you guys know that this month is going to be hectic for us. We are in the process of packing and moving this month, so that is getting in the way of filming. So if there are any interruptions, delays, you know why. It should only be for this month, although I'm going to have to build a set at the new location that I'm going to, but I'm just letting you guys know. I also got called for jury duty, which was fucking stupid. It's the third time I've ever been called for it, and I know people who have never been called for it, so that's been a thing. So anyway, this month is going to be chaotic, but we have all intentions to do the episodes we typically do. Just giving you a warning, giving you a heads up. So yeah, before we jump into Tastycast, going to give you a couple quick reminders to download and play A Plague Tale: Innocence, Call of Duty, Black Ops 4, WWE 2K Battlegrounds, and our Game of the Month, EDF 5, Earth Defense Force, if you don't know what EDF is. Make sure to download those, play those, come back at the end of the month for Plus Club and Game of the Month, where we'll be discussing our opinions on those games. And of course, let us know yours. We have Discord, link down below. You can talk to us anytime, all the time. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms if you prefer to listen to us in audio form. And we have a Patreon if you'd like to support this channel further than liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. If you're brand new, let's jump into Tastycast. What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 145 of the Tastycast, our weekly podcast where we talk about a bunch of random stuff. My name's Seth, and joining me, of course, is Chevy. To my left, your right, and up in the box, we got Kris. How you guys doing?
Doing okay. Kind of a mentally hectic month right now, so trying to keep my mental under control. But otherwise, I'm
mental good. Faculties. Yeah, I've been dealing with the same thing. I already kind of mentioned in the intro, and we don't have to go into details, of course, but you and I are moving, so we are packing this month. We are moving things this month, and in the coming month, I got to set up a new set for the show, so it's going to be a little hectic, but outside of even the show, in life, it's always hectic moving. I fucking hate moving, so
yeah, I do too.
That's a thing we got to do. And I also covered lightly, I don't know how much I can even talk about it legally, but like I had jury duty shit I had to call in for. So this whole month has started out in a way that I'm just like, I'm just kind of done with July. Let's move on to, just skip it. Let's go to the next one.
I think the only time you're not allowed to talk about it is if you actually get called in for it.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't be discussing the details of a murder or something like that, but I'm trying to be careful about any info I get on that.
Yeah.
But luckily, I got dismissed, so I don't got to fucking worry about it. But this isn't a jury duty show, so that's about it. But yeah, I'm in the same boat. My brain's just kind of like, wow, I got a bunch of shit I got to do this month. So
yeah.
So on that note, if you guys notice that the foam pads start disappearing, it's because we're getting the fuck out of here. So you will get to see the original wall. Kris, how you doing?
I am also pretty wiped out. It's the start of the heavy wedding season for the floral business, so there's like at least 2 weddings every weekend that I'm working on. So I'm pretty tired from all that.
Whew.
I actually
July's a busy month.
Heard something today where because of the lack of weddings last year, that they're expecting a pretty big boom this year, but next year I guess they're projecting like insane numbers. So
we are getting brides calling us a week before their wedding date asking us to do flowers. I'm like, it's not possible.
Yeah.
Sorry, can't get flowers in that fast enough.
Yeah, I think the guy I was watching was like, yeah, so if you're getting married next year, it's probably time to get sized.
Cool.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be everything, though. Even like, pertaining to what we talk about in the show, video games, everything's coming out next year. It's because I feel like 2021 is like the recovery year.
And then everything's going to release.
Mm-hmm. And then 2022 is like open the floodgates on everything.
Yeah.
It even sounds like weddings, so it's kind of interesting.
Oh. It's been taxing.
Yeah. So just busy, tired, Same old, same old. Everybody knows now that we're moving, so you guys are warned and prepped and ready to fucking hunker down for the storm ahead. All right, well, it is the first Tastycast halfway through the month, and we got to start with game releases. Unless you guys have anything else to say. So let's just jump into it. In case you guys don't know, we're in July. And in July, some games have already come out. Some games will be coming out. We're going to go through this list. I'm going to read them, and then we're going to talk about our hype and not hype for games in July. This is via Game Informer, so if there's any issues with this list, fucking hit them up. So yeah, July, we got Blaster Master Zero, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, July 1st. Operation Tango came out on Xbox Series X and S on Xbox One and Xbox One, July 1st, which is interesting because we played that last month on PS5, so it's cool to see that it's coming out on Xbox now. Plague Tale Innocence has released on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Switch, July 6th. That is also one of the games on PlayStation Plus. Make sure to download that, play that, come back to the end of the month for Plus Club, so we can talk about that. Ease, 9. Monstrum Nox, Switch PC, July 6th. Sam & Max, this time it's virtual on the Quest, July 8th. Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin has come out on Switch and PC. A lot of people I've told I got it on PC. They're like, it's on PC. You can get it on Steam. So if you want to buy it on PC, do that. Came out July 9th. Claire de Lune came out on PC, July 12th. Curved Space on Switch, July 13th. Where the Heart Leads, PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4, July 13th. I don't know what the fuck that is. Lost at Sea, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, July 15th. F1 2021, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, July 16th. Observer System Redux, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, July 16th. Space Jam: A New Legacy, I know everybody's just dying to play that. Xbox Series X and S and Xbox One, July 16th. I wish they would just say Xbox. It's just on Xbox. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD coming out on Switch, July 16th. So July 16th is just the banger. I guess today. Hopefully you guys are picking up all these games. Akiba's Trip, Hellbound, and Debriefed, PlayStation 4, Switch, and PC, July 20th. Getting a little reprieve there with 4 days. Kris Tales, spelt CRIS, not like our favorite Chris up in the box, comes out on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, Stadia, and PC. A lot of things. July 20th. Death's Door comes out Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC on July 20th as well. Ender Lilies Quietus of the Nights, that's probably a Japanese game, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, July 20th. Harvest Monster comes out PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC, July 20th. Pokemon Unite, what is that? Comes out on Switch July 21st. Why do I not know what that is? Let's look at it real fast. No, oh my god, what is happening? Let's look at this real fast. I don't know. Let us know in the comments what that game is. July 21st. Last Stop, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC, July 22nd. Orcs Must Die 3, a game I found out was coming out like 2 days ago, is coming out on Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC, July 23rd. Contra Returns, does it? iOS and Android, July 26th. I had no idea that's a thing either. Microsoft Flight Simulator is coming out on Xbox Series X and S, July 27th. I thought it was, no. Oh yeah, it's just been out on PC and now it's coming out on Xbox. I forgot that was a thing. For some reason I thought it was already out on there. Maybe that's like a upgraded version. Anyway, Neo, The World Ends With You, PlayStation 4, Switch, July 27th. Samurai Warriors 5, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC, July 27th. The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, PlayStation 4, Switch, and PC, July 27th. Tribes of Midgard is finally coming out. PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and PC, July 27th. Chernobylite, I believe, fully comes out on PC, July 28th. I think it's in early access right now. Near Reincarnation, iOS and Android, July 28th. The Forgotten City, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC, July 28th. Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster Series comes out on PC, iOS, and Android, July 29th. The Ascent comes out on Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PC, July 29th. And finally, thank you, because my throat is fucking just done talking right now. Alone with You on Switch, July 30th. Is there any of these games that you guys are excited to pick up or have already picked up?
It's actually going to be pretty easy for me. I have a bit of an interest in Monster Hunter Stories 2. Still kind of on the fence on buying it, but it is something that has my attention. I'm curious about playing Nier Reincarnation, but it's a mobile game, so I'm not like necessarily excited for it. I just have a curiosity for it.
Yeah,
and
I
then,
get
that. There was one more. Where'd it go? Oh no, two more. Kris Tales, I played the demo of last year when they did all the demos for the Game Awards. I really liked it, so I am actually kind of looking forward to that one. And then the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster series, I'm definitely picking up. So
Yeah, I didn't realize that was coming out so quick.
it's only half of it, but yeah. So it's 1, 2, and 3, and then 4, 5, and 6 will come out later.
Oh, interesting. Chris, anything you picking up?
Well, I'm really on the fence right now about picking Monster Hunter Stories 2 either on PC or Switch. It's kind of the only thing that's holding me back is which system I'm going to buy it on. I played the demo so much that when I fight monsters in the wild, I get the option to instant win because I'm so high level compared to them. So I'm enjoying that.
Doesn't that carry
I'm also
over
interested.
too?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. So I got a little boost ahead of me, ready to go whenever I do decide to switch over. I'm also interested in Final Fantasy Pixel Remastered series. Kind of a thing that Chevy has expressed interest between the two of us kind of going through and playing all those old Final Fantasy games together. Because I haven't played a lot of them myself, so I'm really curious. I want to get into that. And then there's only one more on here, and I've been fucking hyped for it since I found out it was coming out, which is Samurai Warriors 5. I'm so fucking excited for that.
Yeah, I think we watched something on that before, but Samurai Warriors is always good.
Yeah, I don't know if we watched something specifically on it or if it was like part of like a...
I think it was like part of a montage or
Yeah.
some kind of reel, because I remember seeing it and going like, oh yeah, I fucking forgot that was a thing coming out. So, which is kind of nice because now it's just coming out soon. I'm like, oh okay, I could just pick that up
For sure.
So, yeah. Anything else?
No, that's it really.
Okay, just real quick recommendation. If you have a buddy you can play with and you're on Xbox, anything, I would recommend you check out Operation Tango. We played that last month if you'd like to know more details on our opinions on that, but I do think it was a fun game that if you have somebody to play with, check it out. Just a recommendation. I picked up Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin. We'll talk about that in a little bit once we talk about what we've been playing, but definitely recommend picking that up. Let's see. There's a couple things here. Kind of curious about The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. I just know I probably won't play it, so I probably shouldn't buy it, but I'd like to check it out. So if there's a way for me to just look at it and play it for a little bit and see if I love it, I just really want to see how it looks. Let's see. Orcs Must Die 3. I really like Orcs Must Die. Orcs Must Die 2 was not that great. I think the difficulty kind of ramped up like after like the first 3 levels too much, where there wasn't like this ease of like getting into the game. Hopefully Orcs Must Die 3 is different, but I mean, I've talked about it a million times on the channel. I love tower defense games. I like action games. I like co-op games. It's all 3. It is a premium game. I think one of them had like free to play stuff going on with it. It might have been 2. I don't remember. Which is also a turn off. Or they had a free to play game they're going to make. I don't remember. But anyway, I'm pretty stoked about that. I only found out about that game like 2 days ago. I was like, they're making a third one, and now it's coming out. So I will most likely pick that up. It's going to be like $30, and I'm going to get to play it, and I'm sure I'll like it. Contra Returns, I don't even want to really look into because I'm sure it's just the bastardization of a series I used to love. Thanks, Konami. If anybody plays that, though, and loves it, let me know. Let's see. Samurai Warriors 5, I'm interested in. I'd like to see some reviews on it. Tribes of Midgard is a game I've been flirting with the idea of picking up. It looks like a game that I would enjoy, but the visual style is not something I'm really too into. But gameplay-wise, looks like something I would definitely play. So we'll keep my eyes open on that to see what people say about it as that comes out soonish. Chernobylite is a game I almost picked up when I found out it was in early access. but I decided to wait for it to release, so I will most likely pick that up as well. Nier Reincarnation, I'm curious about, like you said. It's a mobile game, and I don't like mobile games. Even if I try to like them, I can't like them. So the likelihood of me playing that and beating it, if you can, or if it's just a gacha game, I have no fucking idea. I'm curious about that. I'd like to check it out. Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster Series looked awesome. Very excited about that. And what is The Ascent? There's so many games. Oh, The Ascent. I'm definitely picking that game up. So yeah, I got a good like 5-6 games I got to pick up this month, but they're all kind of small games, kind of like indie games. So that's kind of nice. It'll be like I'll play for a week and probably forget about it, which is a great way to spend money. I'm so responsible as a 34-year-old man. Yeah, that's what I got though. You guys got anything else? All right, let us know in the comments what you guys think about the games being released this month. Is there anything that wasn't on that list that you would like to throw in the comments and let us know, like, hey, this is coming out. You should definitely check it out. What are you most excited for? What have you already picked up since we're halfway through the month already? And yeah, let us know everything you're thinking about in the comments below when it comes to game releases in July. All right, let's talk about what we've been playing. We do that on every Tastycast, so yeah, we're gonna do that. Probably should start with Kris. He's got a pretty big list, so let's get through. Cutting through that.
So to start, I've been playing a lot of Neo 2. I made it to the final DLC, nice. And I'm on the very last boss of the game. So that's been fun, very challenging. Playing in playstyle I don't normally play, so I'm doing Odachi, so big heavy weapon. Normally I go for fast, quick weapons, so it's definitely difference in playstyle. But I'm enjoying it a lot, very much so. Been playing Final Fantasy 14. I finally have every job at 80, like every job, crafting, gathering, all battle professions, everything. I got it, and now I'm just kind of like, all right, what do I do now?
You're done, dude. The game's over.
All the stuff you got to finish.
No. I've been doing a lot of housing, redecorating the free company house, redoing like stuff in Katari's house and things like that.
I was literally gonna say, just start decorating stuff. You're already 10 steps ahead.
I've been doing a lot of it. So I just pop in there once a day, kind of see if anybody needs anything, then hop out.
Does anybody else have everything at 80?
Katari
does.
Okay, so you have one other fucking
technically
elite person.
Toki as well, but he left the free company. So
right.
What a dickhead. What an asshole.
I play a little bit of D&D Dark Alliance here and there. I kind of hop into that and do a mission and then hop out.
What's your honest opinion on that? Because I'm seeing some pretty fucking damning reviews. Like 4 out of 10.
Yeah, I hop in thinking like, oh, this will be fun, and then the combat begins, and I'm like, this is awful.
What's bad about it?
The camera angles are very punishing, and the characters don't feel like they do much in the way of killing monsters. It's a constant uphill struggle. Constant.
That's interesting you mentioned the camera angles, because every time we watch a video on it, I was always kind of intrigued by it, but I always thought it was weird that the camera always seemed like it was fixed, and then every once in a while I'd see them move it, but I'm like, what's up with that? Why are they not using the camera like you typically would in any game ever? Like, it always seemed like it was like just a fixed room where you walked in, like an old school game. And I was like, why is it like that? If it is, cool. But then I see them move the camera. I'm like, so you can move it? Like, yeah. What, are they fucking hiding something? And the game, it kind of sucks, but like I'll play a game with some jank. Like, I'm 100% okay with that. I'd probably play that game and I probably wouldn't hate it. But that game always kind of looked half-baked. That's why, like, when me and you talk about it,
feels half-baked.
Yeah, it just looked like it. Like, me and you would talk about it, and neither of us, and you fucking like the subject matter a lot. So it's just like, none of us had, like, a lot of it, and it's easy to get me excited. Fucking neither of us had a lot of excitement for it. We're just like, is that going to be good? I hope it's going to be good, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lock-on system is really poor. It feels like combat functions better when you're not locked on enemies, but then you can't do certain actions because they require you to press the controller away or towards the enemy to do certain abilities. So it just doesn't work very well together. It's upsetting.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
What's some positives?
I also put a little bit of Manny. Oh, some positives. It's a looter game, and there's lots of loot.
Okay, that's good.
the characters all feel unique in how they play. I will give them that. Like there's an archer who does like she kicks a lot, so they don't do a lot of damage with the kicks, but she does a lot of damage with the bow. There's the Viking. He feels very much like a berserker, like two-handed weapon, smashy man. Drizzt, I believe his name is the dark elf. No,
Dritz.
I don't know. What?
Dritz.
Dritz, whatever.
To be fair, Chevy called him
he's
Drizzt for a long time too, but
Yeah.
he got learned.
Whatever. He's a rogue, and he feels like a rogue. He feels like a magic-based rogue. So like his dashes are teleports. Like he kind of moves through the shadows back and forth and stuff like that. It feels very quick, very potent in what he does. And you got the short little dwarf who's the tank. He is the tank character. So they all feel unique in their gameplay experiences, which is nice. But just the controls are very upsetting.
Chevy's probably going
I'm
crazy
having
right
a
now.
stroke, actually. Yeah.
I would say he's probably going fucking insane right now with because of the amount of lore and stuff he knows about that. Like you're like the short guy, this girl with a bow.
It's fine.
I have to be. He's the only one playing it.
Yeah.
Go play it. You can have an opinion.
I can have an opinion on the characters.
Sure, I agree 100%.
Sure,
You can have
sure.
an opinion on fucking anything.
And another positive is, and at least for me, is that gear is reflected on your character. If you put different pieces of gear on, it shows like armor and weapons and accessories that you're
How
wearing
bold.
those pieces of gear. So it's really nice.
It's amazing how many people don't do that still.
It's easier not to.
I know.
And I accept it too. I'm like, well, okay, it's one of those games.
Yeah.
But then when I do see it change, I'm like, oh shit! Like it's like a big surprise. Kind of sad.
Especially after hearing like people who make MMOs talk about like the amount of effort it takes to make armor in games. I'm like, yeah, okay, definitely
Yeah.
appreciate it more.
Yeah. So
of
some
work.
good, some bads with it. It's in a rough spot for sure. I play a little bit of Maneater here and there, not too much, nothing really crazy to report there. I played Nier Automata, and I beat the C storyline.
Oh
Nice.
shit!
So now I'm kind of in the go through and kind of figure out all the little weird details in between everything mode. I haven't really hopped back into it after that though, but
I see.
I beat the C stories.
Without going too far into it, what do you think of the game?
I really had to push myself to begin with to play the game, just because everybody talked about it so much. And then I found I got into a stride, and it was okay. But the fact that the story is very convoluted, and even after beating the C story, I still have to dig deeper to find more information is a little. It's a little upsetting, just because I don't want to have to dig that deep to get a basic storyline.
For sure. I had a similar conversation recently because on Twitter somebody asked something about like what's your favorite horror series, something like that, and somebody had mentioned Evil Within, and I was like, oh yeah, it's like a super underrated one, whatever. Some guy asked if it was worth playing the second one. I was like, yeah, it's great, and you don't have to Google the story like in the first game to understand, even try to understand it. Some games, Dark Souls can be like that. So I mean, like,
100%, yeah.
A lot of games can do that, but like a lot of Japanese games really want you to read into their lore and story. They got it all written down somewhere, but they don't portray it in like as cinematic as a lot of Western games.
I think a lot of
even though-
Western RPGs are equally as bad about like making you dig for stuff, though.
even though I think but even not even an RPG, but like even like I think Halo's shit at telling a story. The story in Halo is great, but like the way it's portrayed in the games is like you walk in rooms, people go, "Hey, Master Chief, we're gonna go out here and color the color grounds."
Right.
He's like, "Okay."
There's a lot of filler, essentially.
It's just like okay, and then you like look at the lore, you're like, "Whoa, this is some crazy shit." So anyway, that was a long rant, but I completely understand. What'd you think of the gameplay, and what'd you think of the music?
I love the music. In
You have
fact,
to.
I turned off streaming. I have a stream music that I do when I play it, and I turned that off so I could listen to the soundtrack of the game while I was playing it.
Yeah.
And combat was really fun too, to try to mix different weapon combos to see like which ones suited my playstyle better. It was just really fun to kind of mess around with that. But it's not enough to care because the game feels so focused on the story itself. Like as most games are, but this was really, really dedicated to like that story and the weird things that are happening, trying to figure out what's going on, just to be left kind of again hanging on a cliff end, whatever is just.
Yeah, Yoko
it's
Taro
kind of-
is known for being a back end heavy writer, and he's also bad at like committing to one idea. That's why he always has so many like endings. And then when he makes another project, he goes, we'll just connect it to that
makes
ending.
a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Even the way the story's portrayed is like all over the place. And it feels intentional as you do multiple endings because there's piecing things together. And I think it's cool as a gameplay element, but it does feel like that's his brain not wanting to settle almost. It's almost like he's feeling out the story as he's making the game. Not saying he is, it just, kind of feels like that. So, and I'm not criticizing. I'm just, I get where you come from.
I think, a personal opinion, obviously, but
None of those allowed.
I think in the context of everything he's made, it's a lot of fun because he's essentially just constantly making all these like bits of lore that you can connect and stuff like that. But as far as like a coherent story goes, it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the I always love when this happens. At this point, because of how popular Nier Automata is, I'm gonna sound like a fucking noob. But when this game came out, so many people I know had no idea what it was. I played the demo for the game, just like going like, oh yeah, what's this? And like I started playing it, and like I was like, I was like, what the fuck is this game? And I was just like jump around shooting shit. I'm like, this game's fun as fuck, and like it's cinematic, and like the music's awesome and shit. And it's like such a cool revelation because I had known about the older games, I just never played them and never really looked into them or whatever. And then after I played that game, I was like, I gotta know more. Like, there's a whole series of this.
I also love the marriage of like genres that wouldn't go together.
Oh yeah, no, it's my favorite thing about that game is how varied it is in every way. The music changes up, the gameplay changes up, the camera angle just goes like, hey, you're gonna look from the top down now. There's a lot of bizarre stuff, which I like, weird shit, but that is kind of weird for the story. It's like, what the fuck is the rolling head thing? What is this? What is all this shit going on? Like, so yeah, I get it. Gameplay though, I thought was one of the first things that hooked me. I hadn't really played a third person action game that was like a bullet hell while you had a gun over your shoulder. And it like at first it's kind of weird shooting while dodging and then hitting and shit. But after all, I was like, dude, I love this. Like, this is so good.
Yeah. The most joy I got out of the game was the deep conversations that I had with people about like what was happening, like lore wise, and the possibilities of like what it means to have sentience and the difference between, robot life and human life and android life and things like that. It was just really fun.
What is life?
What is life, and what is real and what isn't real, and all that kind of stuff. It's a deep game as far as like that goes, and story wise, but just having to get all that information is just, I beat the game 3 times. At least give me some information about what is happening.
You technically, like I said, you technically have one more playthrough because you have to do the D ending. But
dude, going back to it, I beat Evil Within twice. The original one, I love that game. I don't know what the story is. I still don't fully get it. And I've watched videos, and I'm convinced nobody fully understands because I've watched multiple videos, and they all have their own theory on what happened in the game. And then the second game was like, that was so crazy, we're going to pretend like it didn't happen. And we're going to make a coherent story, and we'll hint back to the first game. Like, oh, hey, it's the lighthouse from the first game. Yeah, I remember that. Who cares about the story, though? Fuck it. We're making a new one. So, it's so weird that you can, like, enjoy a game but still go like, what the fuck is going on in this game? Like, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But I also love Kojima, and that's something he's kind of famous for.
So played through that, got to see story ending. I've also played a bit of Borderlands 3. Nothing really crazy. It's Borderlands 3. It's Borderlands game. I don't have much to report there.
Got some loot.
Played some Pokemon Sword. I got some loot, got some guns, shot them with it, killed some psychos, and what do they call them? They don't call them dwarves. I can't remember what they call them. They call them something else now. The mini people.
Oh no, I can't remember.
They changed the names of them to be more PC.
Yeah, I don't remember. Who are you playing as?
Tinks, that's what they are. I'm playing as Oh, the secret agent guy.
Oh, Zane.
Yeah, Zane.
Yeah, I forced myself to play him for a little bit because at first I was like, this is the least interesting guy, and I started playing. I'm like, he's kind of cool. The thing they did that I really enjoy, not the story. I hate the story, and it's coherent. It's just bad, but is each class in the game is like 3 classes. They're all like really big hybrids. And so anyone you look at, you're like, well, he's the stealth guy. Well, he's also like got a drone that does stuff. That's not stealth. So it kind of has some like rolling going on there with like some kind of turret thing going on. And, you know, everyone's got like multiple things to go with. So you can pick a character and there's going to be a tree to go into that's going to be interesting enough. So they did a really good job with that. Gameplay wise, that game is awesome. Just
Oh yeah.
I
Oh yeah.
really hate the story.
It's a good Borderlands game for sure. It's entertaining to play. Just yeah, like you said, the story is just kind of. I just tossed it to the wayside.
The end at the end, I'm not gonna talk about it, but like the one, I was already kind of just numb playing it storyline wise, and then I got to the end, and there's just the credit scene's dorky, but like right before it, somebody says something that's just so cringy that I wanted to like pull my hair out of my head. I was like, I can't handle this, dude. Like, who signed this off? But then you see Randy Pitchford spending 30 minutes at E3 just talking about his fucking movie, so it's like he's out of touch with reality. He doesn't even know what's happening
it's
anymore.
his reality.
He's a magician. He's creating his own reality. Anyway.
I also played a bit of Pokemon Sword. Nothing crazy to report there. Just kind of run around catching all the Pokemons. I played some Elder Scrolls Online here and there. Not too much lately. I've been kind of tapering back on it just because it just really hasn't caught my fancy too hard.
You guys happen to come back in. I'm building up a tank right now. Although you're playing tank too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, one of my characters.
One of my characters is a tank. I got him to like. Well, I'll talk about when I talk about it. But but yeah, I'm leveling a tank right now, and I got my necromancer. I'm just ready to fucking go. But he's DPS. So anyway, I'd like to do dungeons. I want to start grinding for certain bits of gear. So.
Gotcha. I also played Frostpunk for the first time and beat one of the storylines. It's very intense as far as like management games go. Like it's a very intense game. I started with I got to a point where I had like 800 people and I beat the game with 32 left. Like they all just fucking died. It's brutal.
I don't know if you guys remember playing it or not, but this War of Mine, it's a 2D perspective game, same people. So it's like, They make really cool strategy games.
Yeah, it's on my wish list. I just never pulled the trigger on it.
They're adding, I think it's like multiple DLCs at once. They have like different locations and stuff and add different content. I'm like, what do you just put that all into one package? Like they're like, we got DLCs coming out. I'm like, I get that. Put it in one thing.
Making an expansion.
Why are you doing it like this?
Multiples.
Yeah.
Money.
Like, buy all of them. I'm like, I'm gonna, but still.
So yeah, that was intense. It took me a couple days to beat that because it's pretty hard, but it was fun.
That game,
I
just
played,
like this War of Mine, it just bums me out. I love playing them, but both of them are so grim. They're grim ass games. And the whole time, like, I'm trying, man. I'm trying to keep people alive, and they just keep fucking dying. People keep knocking on my door, and they take my shit. How I gotta kill them. When Frostpunk, I'm like, dude, I'm trying to keep people warm, but it's just there's just fucking snow everywhere, and I'm running out of resources.
So there's a game where you like manage like it's like a little town or something like that, and you have to like make enough food before winter hits. What game was that, man?
Yeah, I brought that up, and Josh just instantly remembered the name of it. He knew exactly what I was talking about.
It was hard, man.
The game is hard. That's the game where I had the one guy walk out in the snow and winter just died. It was
exactly.
That will always be, even though I don't know the name of the game. I keep want to say Abandoned, but that's that secret Kojima project. But it's probably not.
It is. That sounds pretty close though.
It's something like that, but it's got a B in it. But yeah, that game was super depressing because I was like, it's like spring. I'm like, oh, it's a nice little strategy game. I'm gonna go get the harvest stuff going. I'm gonna cut some trees down. I got these big, strong dudes bringing logs and shit. Then summer happens. I'm like, hey, everything's going pretty good. Then fall hits, and I'm like, hey, we're gonna get ready for the winter. It can't be that bad. And then sickness hit town, and people are in their cabins just dying. And then I run out of people who can get fucking resources, and now it's snowing, so you can't get any. And people start dwindling. And then the last two people, or three out of the last three people, two people die. And then the last guy just wandered out into a field into the snow and just died out there. And after that, the game just kept going. It was just silence. I'm just watching the snow in my empty town that was just fine last season.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's depressing.
Yeah, that game's wild. I think it starts with a B.
Banner Lord.
Watch Josh comment on this. It's this.
Oh, Banished.
Banished. Yep. Yeah.
Cool game. Check it out. Very depressing.
Yeah, as long as you
Great.
can handle it.
Yeah.
On the list of grim games.
Yeah, be in a good mental state before playing that one.
True.
Not that I shouldn't play it ever. Oof.
Yeah.
Oh. I also played and beat the game Carrion. It's
nice.
a fun little monster game. You just kind of go around a facility, kind of solving puzzles and eating people.
Devolver, yeah.
And it's supposedly based in Seattle because there's like a Space Needle in the background at one point. So it was a fun little game. I got pretty addicted to it at one point. Just couldn't stop playing it until I beat it.
I like the, well, I mean, it's chaotic, but I like the physics of it. How you can, like, throw shit around and people just get ripped in half. Also, it had, like, way more story than I thought it was going to have.
Yeah. And I love ragdolling the people around.
Yep.
Not even eating them, just grab them and kind of flail it about.
Yeah, it's scary. It's scary that you're playing that. You're the one ripping these people, like, hiding and shit, and you're just fucking ripping them up.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I've also been playing some Torchlight 3 lately. Last couple days. I'm still kind of on the fence about it though. I'm not sure.
I am such an advocate for Torchlight and Torchlight 2. I love those games to death. And I bought Torchlight 3 just looking at it and going, it's Torchlight. It's got to be good, right? It's got to be good. It's got a lot of cool ideas, but holy shit, that game really feels like a discombobulated remnant of what their original plan was to make kind of an MMO. And it's got this weird clay looking style to it that I hate.
That reminds me of what's that, Kingdoms of Amalur, I think it's called?
Yeah.
Where it was supposed to be an MMO.
Just
and
a
then
vacant world.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, this is dead feeling.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I've been playing that. I play as the automaton because I like the idea of just switching my body parts out. Fun.
You would have loved Machinist. Not Machinist. Puppeteer, Final Fantasy 11.
Did they add the... It's kind of sad. They announced a new class. I don't know if it's out or not. It's like a ghost pirate, which sounds interesting.
Yep.
And then they announced that they're not going to work on the game anymore. And it doesn't have to do with them. I think it has to do with the parent company that bought them. They're like, okay, you're moving on to do something else.
Perfect World, I believe.
Yeah. And they're like, we tried, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, fuck. God damn it, dude.
Free-to-play MMO company. Imagine that.
Yeah.
I did play the ghost, the cursed pirate or the cursed captain, I think is what it's called.
So it is out.
It's pretty interesting. You get doubloons for killing enemies, and you can use those doubloons to summon ghost pirate members. And so he's kind of like a necromancer in that sense, that you can like change what they do or how they attack.
Yes,
But he's also got pirate boat skills, like you summon like barrages and things like that from offshore. It's an interesting character.
I'll have to reinstall it. Although the idea of playing that game now, I don't know if it got completed or not. So they were in the process of working on it, and then they're like, "Well, we're gone." I'm like, "All right, bye, dude.
Oh, that's okay. Bye."
Thanks for trying, I guess."
God, that's a shame.
Torchlight 2 is so fucking solid, though. It stands the test of time. Play it. It's fucking great. Worst thing about it, there's too much loot, but that's not a horrible problem to have.
I'll say it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, I'd rather that than the opposite, but you don't get to savor weapons, or gear.
Yeah. I also played a bit of EDF. Can't really talk about that.
EDF.
Yes.
EDF.
The Bug Menace.
I'm not gonna do this.
And then, like I said before, I played a bit of Monster Hunter Stories 2 demo, so I've played quite a bit of that. quite a bit of that.
What do you think of it?
I really like it. I've been really craving an RPG-esque, like old, like, turn-based
Same.
RPG style gameplay, and it's fun. And I really like how they incorporate the weapons and Monster Hunter gameplay into this. I think it's a really neat marriage. It's a great marriage, actually.
It's really interesting because the game is just straight up a JRPG and it's Pokemon, but like it's also within the Monster Hunter universe. So it's like, which is perfect for Pokemon style game because there's so many different monsters in Monster Hunter, but also like
Monsties.
to account for, you play all these characters with different weapons in Monster Hunter. It's like, if the monsters are the main focus of Monster Hunter, the weapons are also one of the main focus. So it's like, what do you do with that? And you switch weapons for different types of things, and it's kind of an interesting. The thing I like about Monster Hunter Stories too, just kind of diving in as well, is like it doesn't feel like just a cash grab. It feels like a legit, well thought out JRPG, which is nice. It's got good graphics. It's clean looking. It's got the kind of JRPG music I like. Story so far is interesting, and then like the combat is like similar to a lot of things. It's got rock paper scissors system to it, but like it's involved enough that I'm not just hitting the attack button over and over again, waiting for the match or the fight to be over.
Right, and the weapons retain their like sense of individuality too. It's not just like this is rock, this is paper, this is scissors, this is rock. Like the gun lance gets bonuses for shelling because you can shell in it when you're going to head combat. Or like the bow, you can charge your weapon to skip a turn to access a whole bunch of new skills and things like that. So they really like maintain the identities of the weapons in the rock paper schematic. It's really cool.
Yeah. And then there's like you can ride the monsties and stuff like that too. So it's like kind of gives you a different avenue of that world that feels similar. Definitely if you're into Monster Hunter, you're gonna look at a lot of stuff and be like, hey, it's Monster Hunter, just super cartoony looking. But like also offers you something that you don't really get from the Monster Hunter we're used to.
And I think it also has like up to 4-player co-op.
Yeah, from what I watched a video on it, and it was real short, so I didn't get a lot of details. But they were saying that like later on, you unlock missions for 2-player co-op, where you can fight bosses, and then those you get more and more of those. Also, community member Psycho was telling me about it a bit too. But then I also saw in that video saying that there is 4-player multiplayer, but they're saying it's 2v2.
Of course it is.
Which I'm less interested in. If there is 4-player co-op, let me know in the comments. But from what I've heard, that's the gist.
So duo battles.
Yeah. And then duo co-op, because kind of like Temtem, you can fight with each other against things. So it's another game I'd like to get back into. It's kind of disappointing, but still kind of cool. It has something.
Yeah, I'm just grateful it has multiplayer at all.
Yeah.
So that's all I've been playing. I know that's all. This short little list. Nothing.
Yeah, well, my list is going to seem real fucking short because I just kind of dove into one of the games I've been playing. I picked up Monster Hunter Stories 2 as well. I haven't played it a lot, but I have played it. And I pretty much kind of talked about it already. I'm enjoying it. I do want to play it more. I was going to buy it on Switch, but then I bought it on PC because we're moving. So my Switch is packed up. And I'm on my PC all the time, and so if there's a game I'm going to play, it's more likely I will play it if it's on my PC. I have to kind of push myself to go play console games, which is great because like 2 years ago I was playing console games nonstop, and now I'm just hardcore PC gamer again. But yeah, it's awesome. I would definitely, for anybody out there who's like, whether you're new to the series or like old school, but you feel maybe you're like a purist, you're like, I'm not going to play that. I kind of thought the same thing about the first Stories game. I was like, what the fuck is that? But that one didn't look as good as this one. But anyway, if you're one of those people who looks at this game and goes like, it's not Monster Hunter, it is. It's Monster Hunter, just a JRPG. It's just colorful. If you like JRPGs and you like Monster Hunter, the themes of Monster Hunter, the monsters from it, the weapons, it's a JRPG. If you like JRPGs, you like Monster Hunter, play it. It's really fun. I've heard nothing but great things. I've been seeing like 7 to 9s out of 10s. Psycho, name dropping him again, was saying that he like really liked it a lot. Because I believe, he said he beat it. So yeah, like nothing but praise. So yeah, I get it, and I'll report more on it as I play it further. Like I said, I'm in the beginning of it, but it's pretty neat. And it's not just Pokemon, because you get to fight as well, kind of like what Kris was saying. There's the different weapons, stuff like that. So it's kind of a cool hybrid. Kind of hits a lot of different notes that I'm really kind of digging. So, and I guess it's like a 40-hour game, so that's pretty manageable. It's not like you have to spend fucking 160 hours in it. Let's see. I've played WWE 2K Battlegrounds, which is one of the games for Plus Club. So I'll talk about it then, but I will tell you this. There's little chubby wrestler guys in it.
True.
Played Black Ops 4, because it's also another game we're going to be talking about on Plus Club. A game I've played a lot already, so it's weird returning to it. I'm going to say one thing. And this isn't really... I'm going to have a pretty detailed analysis of this game, because I've played pretty much every Call of Duty. So pretty much going to talk about where it stacks up. But one thing I want to say is playing Black Ops 4, this isn't my grade or my assessment of Black Ops 4 as a game. This is it versus Cold War. And if you like Cold War, more power to you. I'm happy for you. I don't like Cold War. I think it's fucking awful. I think it feels unfinished. I feel like Treyarch should have never took on that project. I don't know what Activision was thinking. Black Ops 4 feels like an amazing first-person shooter compared to it. I was playing, I was like, oh yeah, Call of Duty. There it is. And it's... I'm not going to go into details of that.
I don't think it's the only Activision product I've heard issues about this year. So,
Whew. Them and EA and a couple of people need to get their shit together. And maybe Ubisoft, because they're making some pretty big... decisions on franchises that are doing really well right now. What the fuck are you doing?
it's cool. I'll just keep playing Japanese games then.
Oh, man. But maybe Bethesda will make a big comeback. They got some games up their sleeve. I don't believe that, but if it happens, we're all better for it. So yeah, been playing Black Ops 4, and it's Call of Duty. Been playing EDF 5. Can't talk about it too much, but I've streamed that twice now. Those are unlisted, but if you check the stream tab playlist on the channel, or even they'll be over on Twitch, you can check out the streams if you missed them. Been streaming early lately because I've been waking up early, so that's weird. It's different people during that time than at night.
Normies, man.
Yeah, it's really weird. But I'm up. They're like, you're up, and I'm like, I guess I'm here. Yeah, can't wait to talk about EDF 5. I am doing a lot of things that I played this game before. I played it quite a bit on PS4 and hopping over to PC. I'm gonna throw this out there so people know. If you start progressing in offline mode, which makes sense, everybody does it typically. Your character's progress carries over, but your mission progress does not. So I would recommend you play online mode if you ever plan on playing with your friends. Have a private server, lock it, and play there so you keep your progression so you don't have to do the fucking tutorial again. Because holy shit, I played the show EDF 4.1, love it. Doesn't have a crazy stupid fucking tutorial. In EDF 5, they're like, we gotta really explain this simple game to simple people because we don't think people understand it. And so we're gonna have a whole level where this guy who's a dipshit just talks to you and you don't shoot anything, and it takes like 15 minutes. And just save yourself the hassle of ever having to play that more than once. Play online mode, lock your server or your room if you don't want to play with people until you have friends to play with. I would just play on online mode, or if you're never going to play with people, play on offline mode. But you've been warned. That's something I had to learn because I started on offline mode and then went over to online mode. I'm like,
I don't think I've even touched offline, so.
Well, yeah, you guys play together, so you don't have to worry about that. Yeah. Just don't touch offline because you have to restart. All your weapons will carry over in progress, which is great. I'm happy about that. Even though they'll be locked to certain levels if they're too high that you can't use them.
Yeah, the series in general has a weird like check mark system too when it comes to like level progression. So.
I was looking at all the missions. I didn't have check marks on them. I was like, what the fuck? And then I checked another. And I checked another class. I had check marks. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, no, that game.
So it wants you to do everything.
Yeah.
So, not my opinion, but we've talked about it before. I mean, I'm a big fan of EDF, so we'll discuss it at the end of the month. Last thing I'm going to mention, I don't have a lot to say on it. I play ESO like every night. I'm always playing ESO. It's my MMO right now. I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to lean away from it a bit to allow myself time to play other games, because I was going really hard on ESO, which is great. I've been enjoying it. A couple things update wise on what's happening in that game for me. My Necromancer is, I think, around like champion level 350. I plan on hitting 400. So I've been on that grind. I am at the point where I am doing dolmens in Alkir Desert. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, because it is a fast way to get XP. Although I would not recommend you do that unless it's like an alt character or character you're now grinding, because there's a lot of stuff to do in ESO. Don't cheapen the experience by just going and doing dolmens in Alkir Desert. Do dungeons every day to get my dailies. You get chunk of XP for doing a dungeon, doing the PvP and winning or getting first or second place. You get your bonus, so I do that. I already have a set for my Necromancer's build that's like the 3rd tier, so I'm going to start working on getting the higher tiered gear for my build. So I'm working on that. Got both my companions. I'm leveling one of them. The companion system's really cool. They level. You get skills you get to assign to them. You get to assign gear and weapons to them. And it's specifically for them. It's not just normal stuff. They get their own companion gear, and that all unlocks once you unlock your companion. And you just kind of summon them. It's kind of nice, too, if you join a party and 4 people. If there's 3 people in the party and you have your companion out, they will stay around. But if a 4th person joins, they just get pulled out. And then when they leave, it'll resummon the
It kind of
companion.
reminds me of Monster Hunter.
So it's nice, and it's really cool to have a companion running around, especially because that game's so solo friendly. There's certain things you're not going to do by yourself, but most of the content you can play by yourself. And so if you are somebody who wants to play like an Elder Scrolls experience, it's not fully an Elder Scrolls experience, but it's going for that.
It simulates it quite well.
Yeah, it does a really good job at it. I like it more than Skyrim, but that's not hard for me. Having the companion with you adds to that. You get to craft a second character and have say in how they're built, what skills they use, if they're a healer, a tank, blah, 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 blah. It's a cool addition, and I'm really enjoying it. I have completed almost everything in Blackwood, which is the newest expansion. I have a couple little quests here and there, little side quests I need to complete, but like all the major stuff, all the public dungeons, I've completed it all, so I've 100% that shit. I do plan on finishing all the side quests there, and then I'm going to retroactively go back and start finishing some of the areas. I finished Skyrim as well, West Skyrim, so I have 2 areas. It's so weird to even be talking about that, because I have not been playing MMOs for a while, so like to be putting this time into an MMO is stupid, but fun. And then so the Necromancer's cool, enjoying him. PvP is fun, which is nice because that's very hit or miss for me in MMOs. Some games just kind of have it, and some games like put time and dedication into making it worthwhile. ESO does a good job at making it something worth doing.
I'm under the impression that game has a PvP scene anyways.
Yeah, it definitely does. Like Guild Wars 2, even though those games are completely like PvE centric, they're also very PvP centric. Like they really have a good mix there. So yeah, been enjoying the PvP, which is good, because I like PvP if it's done well and it feels good. And then I'm leveling a tank right now. He's a Dragon Knight. Sword and shield, because that's kind of the meta at this point. Everybody's like, you can tank with anything, but like if you want to be like a good tank, you should do sword and shield. So I'm like, okay, I want to be a good tank. If people are going to rely on me, I'm just going to make sure I build something that people don't have to worry about it. I made him a Nord though, because originally I was making a DPS character, and he was I forgot what race he was. Doesn't matter. And then when I decided I wanted a tank, because I already have a DPS character, I looked up and people were like, oh yeah, Nord, and I think Imperial were the two that people were saying were the best right now for tank. So I picked Nord, even though it's boring. My guy just looks like a Viking. I'm like, okay, cool. It's like fucking Thor in Marvel movies. I'm like, it's just Thor. It's like, God, dude, it's not anything interesting. Anyway, I don't want to bitch too much. Yeah, I have a Viking guy. He takes a lot of damage. It's nice. I got him to like 26 right now, so I'm getting up there. I plan on hitting 50 with him, and then I want to make a healer because I don't have a whole lot of experience with healing in MMOs. I know what you're supposed to do. Played plenty of them. Been healed a lot. Never really done it myself though, so I would like to maybe explore that. Done a little bit of tanking, not a lot, but I am familiar with that. And yeah, playing that a lot. But like I said, I'm kind of pulling back because I put so much time in ESO right now that there's all these other games. I'm like, I want to play that. I want to play. Like I so badly want to play Hunt right now, and luckily Cody's seeming very interested in playing Hunt right now. I guess he's been playing it. So especially with Desol coming out, it's already in test servers now. New map, I really want to play it, especially finding out there's Shrek's house in it. So. Anyway, yeah, that's what I've been playing. Yes.
So, outside of playing games, I spend way too much time watching a certain popular MMO streamer switch to try another game, and it has been quite entertaining. I won't mention names, but
Shout out to Asmongold.
For all the stuff I've heard about that guy, actually watching him, I get it. The dude's super entertaining. So, outside of that, though, I've been playing Final Fantasy 14.
As everyone has.
Yeah. Actually, the last couple dungeons I ran, it was nothing but sprouts. I was like, okay, time to do this the slow way.
I saw somebody post something like that on Twitter as well. It was just a bunch of sprouts.
I mean, it's a good problem to have, but it's just
Sure.
it's weird to not just like plow through content.
Yeah.
So, which is fine. I always appreciate, specifically because the game lets you know, which is nice. But like, if someone comes in and they're like, "Hey, I've never done this before," I'm like, "Okay, my mentality is going to change now." So,
As it should.
Yeah.
Anybody who plays any game that's relying on a population to keep the game going, you should be as welcoming as possible, unless the guy's a dickhead.
yeah. But if you got the Burger King crown and I'm doing better than you, there's an issue. So, mentor status.
The
Sorry.
Burger King crown.
Yeah, if you play enough, you get a little crown that makes you a mentor. A lot of people do it just for the mount, though, and not to actually help you.
I just hope it's actually a Burger King
It looks
crown.
like it. That's why everyone calls it that.
'Cause I love that.
So yeah, I'm actually, it's funny because you're talking about like backing off from ESO. I actually backed off from 14 a lot. I was taking a break to not burn out on it, and I'm kind of like, I've been in the mood to play an MMO again, so I've been kind of like getting back into it again. I am trying to do what Kris has done recently and get an Omni 80 character, but holy crap, there are some classes I just do not enjoy playing, and I am leveling Bard right now, which is one of those classes I do not like playing. So
That would be rough for
Yeah.
me because if I don't enjoy playing the character, it's a fucking chore.
yeah, it's starting to feel a little bit like a chore. I know to be a little patient because I know your kit unlocks the higher level you get, so it could turn into something I enjoy playing. But early Bard is so boring for me. But outside of that, I've also been doing some miscellaneous, collection stuff that has existed since the game came out. I completed my White Mage relic weapon, which is your grind item for 2.0, and I have one step left to do on my White Mage anima weapon, which is your Heaven's Ward one. So I almost got 2 weapons done this week. Yeah, I think I have 5 jobs left until I'm Omni 80, and 3 of them are like level 60 plus, so those ones won't take very long. But
You're almost done.
yeah, I'm getting there. It's just like I said, I'm kind of down to the jobs I didn't level for a reason. So
It's going to be a slog.
yeah, actually, Monk I have not even barely played, so that one I can't say if I like or not. I just unlocked it and never touched it. So
Oh, I love Monk.
it's supposed to be fun.
I like it.
I haven't played Melee in a while, so that's gonna be strange. I've been caster for so long now. Let's see what else I play. I played a little bit of the Chibi wrestling game, or WWE 2K, whatever it's called, plus game. Can't talk about it.
One thing I want to say about that game, there's more to it than I thought there'd be.
In some ways, in other ways,
Sure, it's a simple game. It's a simple game, but like combat wise, I was surprised that it's almost just a normal wrestling game that looks like it looks. Also, Stone Cold in the comic gives this dude like just like the most almost romantic hug. Like, that's weird.
Yeah,
It kind of walks up to this guy. He's like, "Hey, old friend." And they're just like embracing each other. I was like, "Those guys are good friends."
I am so out of touch that seeing
Guys are really
Stone
good.
Cold not
Really good
pounding
friends.
beers and flipping people
He
off.
was
is
not
weird.
doing any of that. He was just holding his buddy real tight. I was like, "That's cool, dude. I got good friends too."
So yeah, played that a little bit. Probably played a little more, but I think I got a pretty good gist of it.
Is there multiplayer?
Probably.
Maybe fucking try that if I feel like it.
If we're gonna plan any multiplayer night, I think we need to do it in an EDF night. But
I play the game. I've been playing the game almost every night.
so yeah, I haven't touched that. I haven't touched the other plus games.
We should also play, because it's going to be easier for you guys, but Black Ops 4.
Yeah.
Because that does not have a single player.
For sure.
Black Ops 4 was
Multiplayer
notoriously...
only, yeah.
Yeah, it came out pure pissed. People who don't play single player of Call of Duty ever were pissed they weren't going to get a single player in a game they weren't going to buy.
Can't wait for Chris to be frustrated.
Well, that one has a hero shooter thing going on with it. So maybe Chris will enjoy it more.
Maybe.
Because it's kind of Overwatchy.
What else did I play? Oh, Minecraft. I finally finished the floor in my workshop. So now I actually can work on another project, which is kind of tough for me because I don't know what I want to work on. I'm also got a couple things I'd like to do, but they involve other people, and I haven't been able to like match up time with other people to play. So like I want to do I can't remember what they're called exactly, but they're like underwater temples, because I'd like to start getting some of those lights instead, because I like the way they look.
Dude, matching up time with people, that's fucking rough. Because, like, I haven't played shit with anyone in a while. And literally, fucking today, Josh hits me up. He's like, "Hey, you want to play RDO?" I'm like, "Yes. I want to play RDO really bad. I want to try out the new content. I got to film." So, wrong night. All the time. I've had so much free time. And then tonight, he wanted to play. And then right after that, Cody hits me up. He's like, "Hey, dude, want to play Hunt?" I'm like, "Yes. I really want to play Hunt. And I'm so happy you want to play Hunt. And we should definitely play Hunt. I got to fucking film tonight."
Yeah.
I was like, "Why are both of you doing this?"
It's funny. It's all week when I've been logging into Final Fantasy 14, I noticed that I'm like within 10 minutes of Chris having logged out, and someone else has been logged out too. I think it's been Madara, but I'd like just missed both of them. I'm like,
fucker would.
Guess I'm playing by myself, though I have seen Runtium a little bit. So
Yeah, she's been playing a lot.
she had her Black Chocobo today. Yesterday? I don't know what day
I
it
think it's
is.
yesterday.
Yesterday.
It's all a blur.
Yeah. And then the last thing I played was I guess I've been playing Loop Hero, but there's nothing to report there. That's I want to watch YouTube and play a game at the same time.
You didn't get to a new milestone and get new gear.
I beat the second boss
People
finally.
get me excited for. I don't know what the hell that game is, but
It's hard, but because it kind of takes from like roguelikes in that regard, where like you die, you start over type of deal, but you have unlocks to make it easier as you go. So
Returnal.
yeah,
It's a game I need to play more of.
but I played the New World Alpha, and
It killed your computer.
killed my computer. But it could have also
That
been.
good.
It's hard to say because that was when the heat wave was starting too.
What an endorsement. Should just say that when you go on Steam. It's like so good it killed my computer.
Well, okay, so the game is visually very nice, so I'll give them that.
Not that nice though.
Sure.
The only other game that ever killed a computer that I saw was when I originally played Oblivion when it first came out. And that game was so advanced, so ahead of every other game that existed at the time, that I made the ugliest character I could. I was trying to make him as ugly as possible. It crashed my computer. I couldn't turn it back on for like an hour. My character was so ugly, my computer died.
It's pretty
Broke
much
your
what
computer. Computer's like, no, I don't want to see that shit.
Dude, I spent so much time crafting as ugly as possible, and my computer was just like,
Oh.
stop, please, and just murdered itself. I was just torturing it. It's awful.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what happened.
I'm a piece of shit.
I played New World for about 2 hours, and then my computer shut off, and then I couldn't get it to turn back on for like almost a whole day. So
should I be super excited for that game, or buyer beware, you're in for a scare?
neither.
You mean there's nuance? There's in between?
No, black and white only.
So my issue with the game is that I've played the beginning twice, so it's hard for me to say too much. And then the weapon I wanted to use, I didn't really get access to, and by the time I found the ability to craft stuff, that's when my computer decided it was done. So, and again, I'm not 100% blaming New World. It could have been the heat. We were going through stupid weather at the time.
We were going through it all right.
But I don't think it helped, especially because the game is in alpha, and I don't know if the coding is really all that great yet. So,
They ain't be getting that coding fucking good.
I mean,
It's getting a little late, guys.
wouldn't be the first time MMO came out unfinished.
How about we delay it again over and over and over again?
Probably.
And then while you do that, add more microtransactions that are going to be added to the game when it launches.
Everybody loves microtransactions. What's wrong with that?
I just like the idea that, like, hey, this game we've been working on that everybody's kind of like, about, we keep delaying it. We got some exciting features for you. Microtransactions. That's going to be a thing when the game launches. People are like, yay.
Ray.
My hero, Amazon, thank you.
Thanks, Amazon.
Is it fun gameplay, though, wise?
I mean, I think for you'll like it because it
called
is
out.
incredibly similar to me to ESO in the way it plays.
Interesting.
So for me, I find it fun, but it doesn't scratch the MMO itch for me at all. So it's more like a third-person action game that has MMO features. I can play around with people, stuff like that. But the combat is like just not that exciting for me. I like macro combat, I think, is the deal when I'm thinking MMOs, obviously. If I want to play an action game, it works fine.
Yeah, I like both, but I definitely prefer macro combat for an MMO.
Yeah.
That game looks similar to ESO, but also ESO is this weird mid area where it is macro combat, but also action combat, whereas that game looks like it's trying to be almost like Dark Souls.
It has cooldowns on your abilities and stuff, too. Just like
Well, I'm
ESO
not
does.
talking about the cooldowns. I'm talking about, like, it almost looks like a lock-on target fucking game.
I didn't do that, so...
No, it almost looks like it.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. They play very similar, in my opinion, so...
I'll have to get my hands on it. I'll be the final judge.
So it has 2 to 3 hotkeys you can press, and they have their cooldowns or whatever. And the one thing I did take from it that I liked was the crafting system seems pretty robust. So if you're into crafting, it seems like there will be a lot of that available. And the gathering system seemed pretty neat as well. I don't know if I like it as much as let's say Final Fantasy 14, but if there's a huge emphasis on it, I can only hope that it actually is useful, because a lot of times MMOs will put crafting in and it's this little mini game you can do, but doesn't actually have any sway on economy or end game. It's just there and then people stop doing it, versus 14 it always has a purpose, and in some other games it can, but I know, for example, to use World of Warcraft as an example, I guess crafting has become a joke at this point where there's almost no reason to do it. So I would hate for that if they put that kind of work into a system that seems very robust and then not have a use.
That would be a bummer.
Yeah, that's exactly. So
That whole thing just is useless.
Yeah. So I'm hoping, because I was kind of dipping my toes in the water there when it came to the crafting. I was like, oh, I could see spending a lot of time doing this. And enjoying it, because the gathering is very much go out and find the stuff, and when you take from a plant, for example, the plant actually disappears on the screen and stuff like that. It was very almost Ark-like in that regard, I guess. So yeah, it's neat. I'll probably pick it up. I don't know how much time I'll put into it after I buy it, but I plan on playing it. But I think, honestly, at this point, if an MMO comes out, I'm probably going to buy it. And then if it can keep me, we'll see. But
yeah, I've already kind of made the decision to support MMOs. As long as they're not trash or insulting to the consumer.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to buy something, but I do want to support and validate people who want to make MMOs, because I'm sick of not having. It's 2021. MMOs should be insane right now, and the MMOs that have existed for years have come a long way, and they're impressive. But imagine a game coming out now with the budget of these games, with a long-term plan, and strategy that doesn't involve just like completely fucking over their customers.
yeah.
That'd be great. Nobody's doing it though, except for Ashes of Creation and New World.
Yeah, I'm very curious about Ash. There's another one too. I can't remember the name of it right now. That's Lost something. It's coming out soon. Lost Ark, is that what it's called?
Yeah, but that's like a Diablo style game.
Oh yeah,
but it's technically an MMO because I think it has an open world.
But Ashes of Creation is definitely going for that traditional MMO audience.
It's supposed to be like old school.
It looks like it.
Yeah.
To the point where I think the UI is extremely fucking ugly.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a turnoff, but if it's fun, that doesn't matter to me.
Yeah,
so.
Visually, it's funny because I've been following it for a little bit, and in the time that I watched recent gameplay and gameplay from like a couple months ago, the graphics have increased significantly. Mm-hmm. It's kind of crazy. It's almost like the first video I watched was like an early build, and the new build they were working on didn't show anybody because it's a pretty substantial jump. But
they're actually coming out of technical alpha into normal alpha right now.
Yeah.
So,
but their goals on what to do with that game do sound intriguing, because a lot of them are people who came from like EverQuest and other older MMOs, and they want to go back to like fulfilling and challenging MMOs, which I can definitely respect, especially with all these classic versions of games coming out. Yeah, fuck those up anyway too. But they have like these kind of like territory systems they want to have in the game, where like if you're questing, it's not even just PvP like most games that I'm used to where you fight for territories. It's if you're questing in the territory, it will advance the territory and it'll start evolving. And you'll, if people in your faction are questing there more often, so it's like PvE territory control.
Kind of reminds me of the Dark Age of Camelot days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It'll kind of like lock in an area, but it's supposed to like also evolve the way it looks. Which, straight up, I don't think they're gonna do that because it sounds way too fucking advanced. But if they do,
phasing already exists in MMOs though.
Sure, but I just don't buy it. But if they do it, awesome. I want them to do it. I'm just not gonna, even though they say they're gonna do it. I'm just straight up my brain's like, yeah, they're lying. I'm sure they want to do it.
It's ambitious.
Yeah, I'm sure they want to do it. They're not gonna do it. But if they do it and I'm wrong, fucking dope. That's
for sure.
But that game's backing is the drought of MMOs, but also it does have ideas that the visual style of it is not the selling point to me. It's the goal of what they want to achieve with it. But it's also really early in its development.
Wow. So, and I, especially with recent events in the MMO space right now,
early, it's been worked on for years.
I would say people are starving for an MMO right now.
Sure, I'm at the point where I'll buy one if it comes out, and if I don't, I'm not really too into it. I'll come back to it later, like ESO.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, and I'm just to harp on that MMO drive. 4 days ago, as of recording, Final Fantasy 14, you couldn't buy any more digital copies. The store wouldn't sell anymore, and the servers on North America wouldn't let you make any more characters. Like, there was that many people who had bought it and made new characters, and so the demand for MMOs is there.
Yeah, and it was funny. What's his face on Twitter? Grums, guy who worked on WoW.
He had a tangent about it.
He somebody was like asking him if it's worth it. He's like, "Good luck fucking getting into the game." He's like, "I had to do a bunch of weird stuff to get access to the game, like buying his way into it because they had locked digital versions out." So.
Yeah, they have an automated system that's based off of like projections, and there was a surge that was way past their projections, so they didn't have enough essentially authentication keys. So
well, and like they gotta adjust server capacity and all that shit. Like the game's just kind of been hanging out, and it's seen growth, but getting a surge like that,
well,
you got to be ready for it.
And it's crazy too because Square saw that growth and immediately went, okay, well, we're gonna invest plural millions into new servers. So I guess that's happening early next year. They're going to start building new servers for the game. So
I'm curious to see, because we talk about 14 a lot, and even though I don't play it right now, I have played it and I'm a fan of it. I think it's one of the best MMOs. But I'm curious to see how much of that splash the Wave's making right
Retention?
now will pull back out. How many people will maybe go to other MMOs or go back to WoW, which
yeah.
they'll do. You don't invest that much time into something and just give it up. I've talked about it a million times, and it's like the only thing that'll kill WoW is WoW. No one else is going to do it. So they can turn around, even though reading all the internal memos and hearing about what they're saying, it's like pretty damning shit. And, even there's like infighting going on in Blizzard right now and stuff like that. So it's like it's a fucking mess. But
I've seen a few people.
Square's got to be happy.
For sure. Yeah, that's, again, a good problem to have for them right now.
Yeah, they're just like hanging out and all this shit's happening over there. And then a bunch of people show up at their door and they're like, hey, come in.
Well, and a good example.
Not you, we got too many.
They're obviously paying attention to, because a good example of that is like anyone who follows Asmon at all knows that like Blizzard, they don't really actually like the guy that much, I guess. And then as soon as he like hinted at playing Final Fantasy, Square literally tweeted him, they're like, have fun. They just welcomed him instantly. So they knew as soon as he played there was going to be a huge surge. So I don't think they expected this. I don't think anyone did, because even he, when he was looking at his analytics for his first day, he was just like, there's no way I would have known that almost 1 million unique viewers would have come to my stream.
Well, it generates excitement in a lot of ways for fans of Final Fantasy 14. It's validation. Like, oh, shit, he's coming over here to check this out. We all love it. It's also kind of drama-esque for people. I don't follow that shit. Twitch streamer drama shit I'm not into, but I just don't give a fuck. But, like, the idea of a dude who's so prominent in the WoW community, streaming-wise, even checking something else out shows doubt. And makes people go like, "Well, is he gonna fucking leave WoW?" Blah 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 blah. And he's like, "I'm not gonna leave WoW. I love WoW. I play WoW." And like, it's this whole thing, and it's like that shit is I think kind of ridiculous. But on a business standpoint, he's got a big audience like any other big streamer. He's just advertising nonstop for a game, and Blizzard's not gonna want him to stop doing that. But then if he's playing some their competitor's game, now he's advertising for them. Yeah, that causes some really interesting shifts in the market.
Sure, and a good example of that would be like if Ninja played Apex instead of Fortnite, or if can't remember the guy's name. He's a big like CS:GO player, I guess. But if he went and played like Valorant, all of a sudden,
Siege,
or
something.
That community would go, "Whoa, what's happening?" So
I thought you only play this game, bro.
Exactly.
What are you doing?
So, and it would definitely make notice. And the other problem with that is, or not problem, the other thing with that too is it's a snowball effect, because other streamers see that and they go, "Oh, I went in on that too," and they do it. So
it's enough of a movement that can shift business.
That's why these people get paid by companies millions of dollars, because there is an effect, right? So
it's influence. They have influence.
Yeah, exactly. That being said, going back to MMOs, I just talking about how it is a starved market. There's literally like, don't take this number literally, but like 5 games. There's like 5 like MMO games to play
major
right now.
MMOs. Yeah.
So
there's still plenty, and there's a lot of like Korean MMOs out there, stuff like that. But like the major ones that are popular.
Yeah. There's
Guild Wars 2, ESO, Final Fantasy 14, WoW.
Yeah. Games that have been around for a while.
A long time, yeah. None of those are fresh games.
So I'm rooting for Ashes of Creation, because even though I love 14, putting someone else out there makes other people pay attention, innovation in the industry. The MMOs get better.
MMOs are such an expensive and huge task to take on.
Yeah.
And they're long term, and you got to plan for that to keep people like that's not something you lightly do. So the market needs to say we want this. And so when WoW got huge, there's already MMOs before that, and they were popular.
Yeah.
But when WoW got huge, everybody fucking wanted to make an MMO, and everyone did make an MMO, and a lot of them just died off instantly, and a lot of them kind of hung out for a while, and then some of them like WildStar died off recently, and that was a huge market wave of people developing MMOs because the confidence was there. And now it's just not there. So when I say MMOs are dead and some people disagree or whatever, I'm like, the genre is dead. It is fucking dead as shit. The games that are popular aren't, but they're remnants of the past. They're living on. They're fucking Rome. They're their own things. But nobody's got the balls to make a new game because it's a huge investment, and you don't.
It could bankrupt you.
Nobody's gonna just jump instantly from an established game that's been around for like 13 years to your new MMO. It's not gonna have the same amount of features because you haven't been making it as long.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get into that, but it's a whole thing. So anyway, supporting new MMOs, we have a couple, and it's better than like 2 years ago. There was none. Supporting them will show confidence in the market. It'll show anybody who's even thinking about, should we make an MMO? Well, those 2 new MMOs are pulling in people. Maybe we should. And then that'll just have a fucking snowball effect.
Yeah, and then on a personal level, I've done so much in 14 at this point. I just play current content. So, like, I have the time technically to play a second MMO at this point and devote time to that, because I'm not devoting that kind of time currently in 14 until the expansion comes out. But, you know, give me like a month or two and I'll be in a drought again. So yeah, it's okay. And I've been seeing this. Unfortunately, I hate that this even has to be a conversation, but it's okay to play multiple games, man.
Yep.
So have fun. It's the whole point.
Or don't. And be bored.
Keep that to yourself. I don't need your negativity.
True. What else you been playing?
That's it.
All right, good way to end that. We had to talk about the Final Fantasy 14 thing anyway, so that's good. It's bound to happen. Elephant in the room. You guys have anything else?
Big elephant lately, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Especially in the MMO space, it's huge.
Yeah. Though I'm thrilled the game I love is getting so much positive attention right now.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into the politics of who should, like, you know, win or benefit or whatever, but I'm happy to see 14 seeing a huge spike of success.
Lights a fire under someone else's butt. That's what I hope.
Well, imagine you're one of the MMOs out there that's not WoW, and you're watching this happen. You're like, what the fuck is going on over here? Like, what's Final Fantasy 14 doing that's making the people who used to play this game so much, the king, why are they going there? Why aren't they coming here? And I'm sure there are people, but not to the same extent. There's not the huge wave. So they're going to have to start, thinking about it, because now there's kind of people floating around right now going like, where should I go?
And to very loosely quote, because it's not going to be a direct quote, but Bellular saying Final Fantasy and ESO have both been slowly over years improving their games.
Yeah, ESO's way better than it was.
You can't just ignore that forever.
Yeah. And Guild Wars 2 has an expansion coming out soon. So it'd be interesting to see.
People making games.
It's a good time to be releasing an expansion for your MMO, because there's a lot of people in limbo right now.
Yep. For sure.
And they could just go right back to where they came from, but if you make something interesting enough, you might just pull them in. It's the time to do it. So
yeah, for sure.
It's going to be really interesting to see what happens, but congrats to 14 on pulling in all these new sprouts. What they're called?
Yep,
Those
sprouts.
fucking people.
Also,
Yep.
The fucking 14 directory on Twitch exploding. Congrats to them too.
It's a good time to be in the community or join the community. Thought about hopping in there for a second, but I'm already playing ESO too much. Maybe I will. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Yeah.
You got till November.
True.
You can do it. I'm watching 3 people play through the game right now, and one of them is starting Stormblood, and they just started a month ago. So
Nice.
And they're not speeding through it all. So not saying that you would. I'm just saying in general, you have plenty of time.
I got through the slog anyway.
Yeah.
And that
hard part's over for you.
And that doesn't exist anymore, so in the way I played it.
No, it doesn't.
I'm really happy I got to experience that, though.
Me too, actually.
Whenever they take stuff out of games, I'm like, oh no, I wanted to see, even if it's bad, I wanted to see it.
For sure.
So yeah, let us know in the comments what games have you guys been playing, anything you've been enjoying, anything you're like, hey, don't fucking play this game. I'd love to hear that recommendation. What games should we be playing? Let us know everything you're thinking about in the comments below. Another big elephant in the room is something that was announced today, which is the Valve Steam Deck. It's really hard every time I say Steam Deck, because I have a thing right in my hands right now called a Stream Deck. and it's something that Elgato makes. That's how I do this. But yeah, so every time I say Steam Deck, I'm like, Stream Deck? Anyway, pretty close. Yeah, it's a portable mobile PC. Not a streaming handheld, but an actual PC. You guys probably already know all about it, but we're going to watch 2 videos via IGN. It's going to explain what it is, what it does, and one of the videos has like 30 questions. They just rapid fire ask. I watched a little bit already of it, and it's funny because pretty much every question he asks, they're like, yeah. He's like, can you connect peripherals? Like, yeah, it's a PC. They're like, can I put programs on? He's like, yeah, it's a PC. And even the comments are like, dude, it's a PC. You just do it, do whatever. And I'm like, it's kind of nice hearing a developer just go like, yeah.
They had a list of questions. And they weren't going to deviate from it. So,
yeah. So before we watch this, real quickly, Valve has a history, obviously, with not making third games, but also experimenting with hardware.
Yeah.
They've made their Steam controller, which I've always kind of wanted to buy, but there's so many controllers out there, and there's already good ones I already own. So it's like, why would I just buy a controller to check it out? They also made, I forgot what they're called, but those like little Steam computers. Steambox. That was a thing for a while. So they've been dabbling for a while, trying. They got the Index. They got...
It's supposed to be good.
Yeah. It's supposed to be one of the best, if not the best, VR headsets, which makes me go, hey, I got this Vive that I love. It's something better. Maybe I should upgrade, but it's expensive. That's a big upgrade. But anyway, yeah, so they've dabbled, and finally they're releasing new hardware no one really knew about. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to watch them kind of try out things. They haven't nailed it ever. Like, they always kind of do stuff. People kind of test it out a little bit, but then like it just kind of falls off. So what do you guys think about the potential of them making essentially a console, but it's PC? I mean, we're gonna go into the detail and talk about everything about it, but think it's a good play, bad play? Like, think there's room for it? Everybody's waiting for that Switch Pro, and then Valve's like, here it is.
Kind of jokingly call it the Switch Pro, yeah.
I literally, I made a thumbnail earlier. It was like, the real Switch Pro. Valve makes Switch Pro. Because everybody's like, Switch Pro, I'm one of you guys. And then they're like, Switch OLED. I'm like, that's pretty cool. If I ever break my fucking Switch, I'll make sure to get one of those.
If I had a reason to buy it, I'd buy it.
And then like 2 days later, Valve's like, here's the Switch Pro.
Yeah.
And it's only $50 more than that OLED.
I guess I'll make this kind of easy because I'm actually just like not even remotely excited for this. But
show my cards a bit.
But I do think there's a market, 100%. There's plenty of people out there who would love to get their hand excited. You have seen the price point on it too. Super fair.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, I think it's especially someone who maybe is curious in dabbling into PC games, but they're more comfortable with a console. It's a really good stepping stone, and it's a really good price. So, actually, yeah, I think it's a neat thing. I hope they support the shit out of it. So, but yeah, there's no way I'm buying one.
My big thing, and again, we'll get into the deeper elements of this in a sec, but I want one just because I like the idea that it is just a straight up fucking PC. It's got the back paddles, all sorts of really cool stuff. It's got little touch pads on it. The tech I really like, but I also like that it's not a gimmick. It's a fully functioning PC. I love that. So if I buy it, I'm not really wasting money because I'm just purchasing another PC. I wonder what the hell I can do with it. It'd just be kind of neat to have that small little portable PC. But the thing that excites me about it is there are people out there who don't want to spend $1,000+ on a PC.
These days, way more than that.
Sure, but whether they don't have the funds or they just don't want, they got a console, why the fuck would they buy that? This is an entry point to just have a fully functioning PC. You can play with a mouse and keyboard. You can dock it. You can fucking play it as just a handheld controller game. The access point is so good and so fairly priced that like, it's win-win because they can get new people and people like me who are willing to buy it, and get more people on Steam. Even though I thought it was really funny, Tim Sweeney or whatever from Epic, he's all stoked about it because he's just like, He's like, Valve released a fully functioning PC that's handheld, and it will be able to use other markets as well.
Well,
Like,
he's been in court with Apple for fucking ever.
well, that, but also they're like, hey, we can sell games on there too.
Yeah.
That's cool because it's just a fucking PC. So
Yeah.
it's it was really interesting to see him. He's all for just the one thing. I'm not a big Epic Game Store guy, but I've bought a couple games on there, but and I get the free ones on there and stuff. But the one thing that they really haven't backed off of is how badly they want like a fair market and devs to get paid fairly.
Yeah.
Which I totally commend. And they're fighting Apple, which is just wild. Like, I'm on their side when it comes to that shit. But even though I think Apple will win, but they got all this money and they're spending it, so, and not just on themselves.
I think they're also fighting Samsung too.
Probably they're fighting everybody with that Fortnite money. Fucking Save the World edition. Chris, any brief thoughts on the idea of a Switch-sized Game Gear 2 PC?
This is what the last 5
I've been
minutes.
waiting for someone to create a portable handheld system outside of the Switch for a long time now. I think the market has been there. People could argue phones, but your phone's going to go so far, and I don't want to drain my battery playing fancy phone games. I need that phone for other things. So I think this was destined to happen eventually. So I'm excited for it.
It's kind of crazy it's just now happening because other people have like tried NVIDIA Shield where it just streams from your computer. And I'm like, it's kind of a cool idea, but I'm never sitting in my house just going like, well, I don't want to sit on my computer. I'm going to sit at the couch and play my NVIDIA Shield. It's not going to, it doesn't, and anybody who's using it enjoys it. Awesome. But like, it's just not for me. It's almost there. But it's like it's not what I want. I sit at my computer all the time. I'm playing games or doing whatever the fuck. If it's just a full-fledged PC though, and just has a battery life and upgradable memory, SD card, and stuff like that, it gives me so many options that the investment doesn't feel wasted. And like you said, been waiting for it. Like the design, I thought it was funny. Somebody said it looked like a Soviet era piece of technology. I was like, Soviet built. I was like, it does kind of look kind of tankish, but tanky-ish. But apparently it's very comfortable to hold. So yeah, I'm with you. Like, yeah, it's funny too. Twitter was just going crazy. Like the reaction to this has been very positive, which is kind of cool to see. People were like adding Sony and they're like, where's your new portable at? We want blah 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 blah. I'm like, they're gonna make one. It's gonna be $900, and then you're gonna buy it, and it's gonna be premium, made with diamonds and glass and shit, and it's gonna be just so ahead of everything.
Vita fanboys, man, they're crazy.
Dude, the Vita was fucking cool. It just didn't have games, but I always really wanted one. But I was like, I'm not gonna buy this for 2 games.
I still have my PlayStation Portable tucked away somewhere.
I have
I
one
love
installed
that
on my
thing.
PC.
I played the shit out of that thing.
True. That's what somebody was saying too. They're like, dude, you can just you can buy the Steam Deck, and then you can just get emulators for like PlayStation, for Switch, and they're like Game Pass will run on there. Like you have everything on there. I'm like, that's kind of crazy.
Yep.
So yeah, anything else you guys want to say before we watch this? No.
I want it now.
All right, you got the first video queued up.
Yep.
First hands-on with, this is Steam Deck, first hands-on with Valve's handheld gaming PC via IGN, so whatever they say, that's on them and not me. Ready to go?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, and go.
I'm Bo Moore with IGN, and this is the Steam Deck, Valve's brand new handheld gaming PC. I'm here at Valve, where I've spent the last few days going hands-on with the Steam Deck, as well as chatting with the people who made
Get out of my
it.
state.
We've got a lot to cover,
welcome
so let's
here.
dive right in.
I've been here for days in prison.
When I first saw the Steam Deck, I was a bit thrown off by its control layout. The thumbsticks are in line with the D-pad and face buttons, which looks a bit odd when you're used to the more offset angle found on most controllers. However, as soon as I held it myself, the layout felt completely natural. The full-size thumbsticks felt precise, and while the D-pad wasn't quite as clicky as I'd like, it was fully serviceable for rounding out some quarter circles in Guilty Gear Strive. Similarly, the face buttons and bumpers all felt solid and served me well through a few runs of Hades. The triggers did feel a little bit squishy for my taste, but it's worth noting that I was using a non-final hardware unit, so it's possible that things might improve there as Valve tweaks the deck before launch. On the backside are 4 rear buttons, a welcome feature for anyone who's grown accustomed to using pro-style controllers like the Xbox Elite. These, like the rest of the buttons and other inputs, can be fully customized to whatever you like thanks to Steam Input, Valve's commitment to making useful custom key bindings available for almost any controller layout. Underneath the thumbsticks are one of the deck's standout features, 2 precision trackpads, which give you access to mouse controls for games that don't play well with a controller.
The trackpads here are an evolution of the same technology that we've been working on since the Steam controller days and experimenting with internally. You also have seen some of our trackpad work as part of the Index controller, for example. They can be used for many different things. We have a keyboard that lets you do dual thumb typing. In-game, you can map them to areas of the screen for the mouse cursor to jump there and be kind of a one-to-one region type input. You can create on-screen menus that pop up on top of the game and have many customizable like macro buttons or keyboard keys. And you can just use it for mouse input, where it's really powerful and reliable for the people that are comfortable with that sort of input.
Both the thumbsticks and the trackpads are also capacitive, which means they can tell when your finger is on them. Combined with the internal gyro sensor, it gives you a weirdly precise level of control that, after a brief adjustment period, is honestly not far off from using a regular mouse. Yes, even in first-person shooters like Doom Eternal. Finally, the 7-inch screen is touch-enabled as well, giving you yet another option for controlling your games.
Pretty advanced piece of kit.
The Steam Deck will draw immediate comparisons to the Nintendo Switch, but while it might look like a handheld console, Valve's device has much more in common with a desktop gaming PC. The Steam Deck runs a custom version of SteamOS that gives you a console-like experience on the surface, but under the hood is a full-blown PC.
It's a PC. We don't think people should be locked into a certain direction or a certain set of software that they can install. If you buy a Steam Deck, it's a PC. You can install whatever you want on it. You can attach any peripherals you want to it. Maybe a better way to think about it is that it's a small PC with a controller attached as opposed to a gaming console.
I think it differs from these kind of platforms mainly because you can just customize the experience and use all the options at your disposal that are typically associated with PC gaming. We think that while there will be a pretty approachable entry point where you can see the games that work really well by default and get a pretty seamless gaming experience. If you want to go one step further and use all of these options, you can. Customize your controls, your level of performance, battery life, use Steam Workshop or even mods that are outside of Steam Workshop. All these options that are dear to PC gamers are fully supported by the deck.
This means you can do pretty much anything on it that you can do at your desk. Plug in a mouse and keyboard? Yep. Tab out of your games to a browser or video? Sure. Load up third-party programs or even other game stores? No problem. You could even wipe SteamOS entirely and install a fresh version of Windows if you want. But I will say the default SteamOS is smooth and efficient at getting you into your games, so I would imagine most people won't want or need to go that far. The point is, you can if you want to. Importantly, this also means that all of Steam's features, like cloud saves, are fully functional here. You can start playing a game on your desktop PC, save and quit, then load up and continue playing portably on your Steam Deck, with all of your progress, key bindings, and mods fully intact. You can also suspend games indefinitely on the deck itself, similar to how the Switch works, though you can't have multiple games suspended at once, like with Quick Resume on the Xbox Series X. Valve also told me that they're looking into ways to cloud sync suspended games between desktop and deck, meaning you could potentially hop between platforms without needing to save and quit. But that functionality wasn't in place yet during my time on the device. While the Steam Deck
Yeah.
is obviously designed for portable gaming, it's also fully functional as a desktop PC. Using a USB-C dock, you can connect it to a monitor, mouse and keyboard, Ethernet, and whatever other peripherals you want. Valve is developing an official docking station, which will be sold separately, but a standard USB-C dock will work just as well. In desktop mode, Steam Deck honestly just feels like a PC. The OS is Linux-based, but it feels largely familiar to Windows and is capable of running both Windows and Linux games. I played a bit of Factorio and Death Stranding with mouse and keyboard on a 32-inch monitor, and if it weren't for the deck sitting docked next to me on the desk, I would have honestly just forgotten that it wasn't running off a traditional desktop PC.
Very cool. At the price
Of
point, you
course,
can
a
buy
PC
that as
gaming
PC.
device isn't worth much if it can't play games well. But worry not, in the power
That'll be a
department,
huge
the
selling
Steam
point
Deck
just
is no
because the
slouch.
price of computer
We've
parts
been
right now is insane.
partnering pretty
That was
closely
another
with
thing I was bringing
AMD
up earlier. I was
on
talking
bringing
about
up
this, is like
next generation APU and
buying a
developing
GPU right
the,
now,
the
or
main
even
board
buying a
and the
laptop,
software
all that
solution
shit.
around it.
This is a pretty.
It has like 4 cores
very
of
affordable
Zen
option.
2 architecture CPUs with SMT enabled, so up to 8 threads. And the GPU is based on the very latest AMD RDNA 2 architecture, which supports all the latest features like ray tracing and variable ray shading. The total APU combined power is about 2 teraflop, which should let people play the games that they have in their library without issues at 720 and provides lots of horsepower to that effect.
2 teraflops puts the Steam Deck in the ballpark of the Xbox One and PS4. In practice, it's actually more impressive than that. Since it targets a 720p resolution, which is more than enough for the 7-inch screen, the Steam Deck is able to play current-gen PC games at medium to high settings at smooth frame rates. While I wasn't able to run benchmark tests during my hands-on time, I played Death Stranding, Doom Eternal, Control, and several others, all of which looked great and played smoothly. The deck comes in 3 different models, but power-wise they all have the same internals. The only difference is in storage space. The base model has 64 gigs of storage for $399. Moving up to the 256 gig model costs $529, while the top end will cost $649 for 512 gigabytes. All 3 storage devices are SSDs, however, the 256 and 512 gig models use an NVMe drive for even faster load times.
Those are the ones.
And while the internal storage
what I'll be
itself
buying.
can't be
I'll buy one.
upgraded, there's an SD card slot
Same.
to expand your storage even further, which games can be installed onto and played directly off of. The Steam Deck will be available this holiday season with reservations starting soon.
Gabe Newell's just
We've got a lot more
slowly
coverage
becoming
planned all
Santa
month
Claus.
long, so for all that and more, keep it right here at IGN.
All right, so hold your thoughts on everything we just watched. We got the next video we're going to watch. This is just rapid fire questions. This is Steam Deck FAQ, 31 big questions answered. Do you got it ready, Chris?
Yep.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Uh-oh. Maybe a couple seconds behind you. Didn't go.
I'm Ryan McCaffrey. This is IGN. We are at Valve talking about the Steam Deck. I have 3 fine gentlemen from Valve,
Get
from
on
the
my state.
Steam Deck development team here. Guys, I've,
What are
let's
you
see,
IGN people doing
31
up here?
rapid fire, just frequently asked questions.
Go back down to
People
the
are going to see
Firelands.
this and have questions. I figured we'll just go around real quick and get all the big stuff answered. Number one, I'll let you pick who answers what. First of all, what's in it, CPU, GPU-wise? What is in this thing?
So there's 4 cores of AMD Zen 2 CPU with 8 logical threads and 8 CUs of AMD RDNA 2 GPU. These are all the latest architectures.
Perfect. How much RAM's in it?
16 gigabytes.
All right, I like the synchronous
Yeah,
answer.
nice.
That's good.
was
Storage-wise,
crazy,
what are we looking at?
We have 3 SKUs, and it'll be 64 gigs, 256 gigs, and 512 gigs.
Is the storage upgradable?
The internal storage is not, but every deck will come with a SD card slot, so you can put an SD card slot, whatever size you want, whenever you want.
Price.
The 64 gigabyte storage will be $399. The 256 gigabytes will be $529, and the 512 gigabyte will be $649.
Is there a difference in performance with regard to the storage speed, like flash memory versus NVMe as you step up and go higher?
Yeah, as we go higher, the read and write speeds are going to be faster.
Screen size and resolution, what are we looking at there?
It's a 7-inch screen. It's a 720p native resolution.
The aspect ratio is 16 by 10, so the exact resolution is actually 1280 by 800.
Battery life, that's a big one in any handheld device. What are we looking at there?
Well, there's a wide variety of experiences there. It's about 2 to 8 hours, depending on what you're doing. You can play Portal 2 for 4 hours on this thing. If you limit to 30 FPS, you're going to be playing for 5 to 6 hours.
Nice. What is included in the box?
It will come with the power adapter. It also comes with the carrying case.
Are there built-in microphones in this for multiplayer chat?
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent. Is there a cellular connection so I can download games from anywhere, or Wi-Fi only?
Wi-Fi only.
Okay. Is there an ambient light sensor in it to auto-adjust the brightness of the screen depending on the lighting conditions?
Yes, there is.
Excellent. This is a great way to get all these answers. Okay, what operating system does it run?
One thing I appreciate
running
too,
the new
there's
version
no
of
fucking
SteamOS.
corporate
Is
jargon.
it gaming only, or
There's
can it
no-
run other
If you're a
PC
fan, we
applications? Can it
believe
do
in
other
making
things?
Truly
Can
iconic
pretty much run
things.
anything you can run on a PC.
We just really care about
So
people.
we could go to IGN.com on,
I was like,
on
yep,
it.
nope,
Absolutely.
Yep, yeah, it
Is
has
there a
that.
docking station
They
or any
sound
way
like,
to play it in on
Nerds,
a
tired
bigger
people
screen?
from Seattle.
Yes, we're
True.
producing a dock. It'll
We're all
be sold
nerds
separately.
here.
Is there a price on that yet?
Don't have a price for you today.
Will that be available at launch?
Don't have that answer for you yet
Okay.
today either.
There's plenty of existing off-the-shelf solutions. I don't think that it'll be, providing this nice experience, but similar functionality.
Any USB-C dock that you can buy off the shelf will work with this, and it'll do USB, Ethernet, and
I like how there's,
HDMI,
like, use
all
somebody
the
else's.
things you would expect from a dock.
What
Yeah,
peripherals,
fuck.
headsets,
Like, yeah, buy our
controllers can we
proprietary
use with it?
Doc.
Anything that can be plugged in via USB and anything that can be accessed via Bluetooth. There's an onboard USB-C connection.
Excellent. Yeah, I tried my Apple AirPods earlier, and they worked just fine. So don't even have to buy anything else. Love it. And there's also a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack as well, so you got everybody covered. Can I play VR off of it?
It has all the connectivity you would need to do that, but that's not really what we're optimizing the performance for.
So you can try it, but your mileage may vary.
Yep.
Is the short version on that.
That's what.
How about, can you adjust graphics settings
feel
within
like
it,
they're
or
like,
is it sort
they
of
say
locked
less,
into
you
a
can't get in
specific settings profile
True.
based on the horsepower of the machine?
All the normal options that you'd get in PC games are accessible. That being said, most games start with a pretty balanced graphics settings that work really well out of the box.
Is the core hardware, so not the storage, but is the core hardware upgradable in any way?
Not really. Due to the small form factor, everything is pretty tightly packed there,
Yeah.
not in the regular form factors.
What about handles heat?
Can it play? Are you locked
Yeah.
into Steam, or can you? Because you mentioned this a minute ago, Pierre-Luc. Or can I log into the Microsoft Store with my Game Pass Ultimate account or my Epic Games Store account?
Again, you can really do anything that you would expect a PC to be able to do. So the answer to those things is yes.
Yes, excellent. How about mod support? Again, seems like
Yeah.
a yes.
Really the same answer because
Yeah.
PC can do those things. So
It's a
we
PC.
built
It's a
this device
PC.
to support
It's a
all of that.
PC.
And the
It's a PC in
version
your
of
hands.
Steam that runs on this is
It's like
the
your
same version
tower,
of
except
Steam
for
that
sitting
you
down.
have to
Yeah,
do
that dude's
Can I
got
do
lots
this?
of questions.
Yeah, it's a
So
PC.
here's going on
Workshop
with
and
this.
Well,
all
what
the
about this?
support
Again,
mods will be there
it's a
as well.
PC.
How about multiplayer? How does that work with the device, be it local multiplayer or otherwise?
Yeah, I think same story as with any PC. So it has connectivity, so you can play multiplayer games. You can play local multiplayer with multiple controllers connected to it. All of the things that you would expect.
So all you'd need for multiplayer on, like on a split screen,
Yeah,
same
one of
screen
those
multiplayer
fucking
would be a second controller input, really.
I feel like unless
via
you're doing it to see if you
Bluetooth.
can, you're kind of an
Or
asshole if you're
use
bringing
a
those
phone
things
and
over
a
to
Steam
play on
remote
that
app
thing.
for
There you go.
It's
Yeah.
play
go.
on a 7-inch screen.
Why
Bring your
inline
Custom
thumbsticks
fight stick?
versus
Best
offset?
custom
That's
fight
an
stick.
eternal debate between, I guess, particularly PlayStation gamers and Xbox gamers. You've settled on inline here.
Yeah, I think this worked really great for the layout that we ended up using, and we have not really seen.
I'm actually interested in the thumbsticks.
What other
because
buttons
your
are hiding on it?
thumbs are fully
Which people can't see the back
at
right now.
length
There's
up
a
there,
set
so
of
it's
extra
not gonna feel
buttons on the
cramped.
back.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Four
Yeah.
programmable
Because it doesn't
rear
look
buttons.
good, but it seems
How
like
about
it's going to work well.
Supply. That's always, as I'm looking over my list of remaining frequently asked questions, gamers have been frustrated, and justifiably so. I mean, yes, we have a supply, we have a chip situation globally,
So it's
but
calming down.
scalpers and
Finally.
bots have rained on the parade
Yeah, I
of
heard
many a
PS5s
would-be
are,
next-gen gamer as well. So,
restocking
do you
faster now.
anticipate?
Yeah, and GPUs.
I'm sure you don't want to give numbers here, but do you anticipate being able to meet demand this fall?
Yeah, finally.
We're building a system of reservations that we're going to roll out shortly after this announcement. And we're really going to use that. We obviously can't make all of the devices at once that we think people will want over the next year or two.
Yeah.
So as those become available and as they're manufactured, people will be able to reserve and then purchase those in a queue-based system.
Perfect. I guess the last question would be, what's the reasonable shelf life for this? What is the sort of long tail of it? Is it something that is going to be upgraded? Like, will there be a 2.0 version of this in a few years? Will there be
the next
a way where do you anticipate
Kind of reminds me
or
of a cell phone.
want other hardware makers to use the same Steam OS and make their own version? How do you look at this
In a
as
lot
a
of ways,
platform?
we look at this as just a new category of device in the PC space. And assuming that customers agree with us that this is a good idea, we expect not only to follow up in the future with more iterations ourselves, but also for other people, other manufacturers to want to participate
Yeah,
in the
watch.
space.
People are going to start making
All
them.
the technologies and
Yep.
the OS
That's like
and
the
the
Steam
building
box.
blocks that we've been
They
working on.
made it,
over
and
the
everyone was
years
like, we should do
that
it too. If
it
kinda
sells
make
well
Steam
enough,
Deck
you're gonna
will be
see
available
fucking
free of charge for people that
goddamn
want to,
Dell making
build
one.
devices like that as well.
Brilliant. Lawrence, take us home. You're starting to say something
Valve
as
doesn't
well.
care.
Oh, I was
They're
just going to
like-
say the same thing as Pure Lube.
It's
We
in our
wanna make sure
footsteps,
people
so our
know that
name's
the
attached
Steam
to us.
OS
People are
Well,
going to come to Steam.
Steam OS
And
3
you
is
can
available
access
for,
Steam on
like,
that,
the
so
licensed for any
and it's
manufacturer.
integrated for Steam. It works like it has preset
Brilliant.
graphics.
You heard it here. Gentlemen from Valve, the Steam Deck out this holiday. For more on the Steam Deck, keep it tuned right here to IGN.
Maybe I will, maybe I won't.
Maybe.
All right, so we got a lot of info on the Steam Deck. What do we think about everything? What do you think about the name? What do you think about this move we already kind of talked about for Valve to be releasing this? What do you think about the specs? What do you think about the prospect of buying one? Is it interesting? We think about like the uses of it. Obviously gaming, but it's a fucking PC. Like they said multiple times, it's a PC. You just got a PC in your hand with a screen on it. General thoughts?
I'm gonna go first just because it's gonna be really simple.
Yeah.
My opinion really hasn't changed a whole lot. I still stand by it is a great cost for a PC that plays modern games.
$400.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You're not gonna be able to install a lot on 64 gigs. I would totally suggest, especially after they said the SD drive changes on the top two brackets, by the middle bracket at very least.
Yeah.
Because that load speed's gonna be noticeable. But yeah, I think there's a demand? Absolutely. It's a PC access that's portable. You could put it in a backpack with a USB-C cable, hook it up to a monitor anywhere you go. You're in a hotel, as long as they don't have the ports blocked in the back of the TV, you just plug it in. There's your monitor. You want to get real fancy, you can get a Bluetooth, like a 65% keyboard and a portable mouse, and you got a PC everywhere you go.
Well, that's the big attractive thing for me is like I have a laptop. It's not a gaming one, but it's still a laptop, and every laptop's been around forever, and like gaming laptops, blah blah blah. They're small, super thin, easy to take around with you, but like it's form factor. You can bring a controller with you, but you're bringing a second peripheral. If you want to play, I guess competitively or whatever you're going to play or more comfortably, you're probably going to bring a mouse and keyboard with you, or use the keyboard on the laptop. Which always kind of sucks with a mouse. There's just additional things there, and that's fine. It's a computer, everyone's used to it, whatever. But this gives you the avenue of malleability, the ability to, as long as you have that with you, you'll be able to play something. Regardless if I forgot my mouse, you could bring it, or you could not.
Yeah.
It's just gonna work. It's a PC.
Touchpads and
It's a console. I even hesitate to call it a console. It's just a PC. But like for console players, it's a console. It's set up like a console. They even said like when you start up a game, there's already presets on the best way the game's gonna run on it, which I think is very smart. Because for people who don't want to fuck around with graphics, and you can do it, which I appreciate. Even though I didn't build that, so I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna play the way they think I should. It just lets people play games.
Yeah.
Very smart. But Yeah, for the whole idea of like you take it with you somewhere, whatever. You can plug it into your TV, use it as a controller. You can plug in a mouse and keyboard, plug in your own controller you like maybe using better, maybe play it on the 7-inch screen. It just the options of just having this portable PC with no bullshit. You just do with it what you're gonna do with it, and there's not gonna be any excuses. There's definitely value there for sure for different people.
For sure. Yeah. And I think they kind of said it well as when they were talking about like, you make more of these or whatever. And he said, if people find the value in this like we do, I do think that's the kind of the case, right? I see the value in it as well, as much as like I don't have a personal need for it. Is 100%. I think it fits into a very interesting spot because the Switch is a console that you can buy that's a little bit less than this device, but it is a console, so everything's proprietary about it, right?
Yeah.
Versus this is a PC, it's a little bit more, and you can still get that console experience or you can get that PC experience. And for a lot of people who maybe are more comfortable on a console, it's a stepping stone. Like I kind of brought it before, and there are some games that play better with a mouse and keyboard, and you're not kind of left out at that point. So.
Or maybe you just really prefer the controller feel. You don't play PC games. You don't want to buy a brand new PC. You can buy that thing. Best of both worlds.
Yeah, and I really think at the end of the day, the biggest thing it has going for it is price and utility. So.
Yeah, that's 100% what I agree with. It's like I where I'm at, I don't need to buy this for PC gaming. I got that handled, but the price point is really attractive. And the utility purpose of it. I mean, you can have Discord on there. There's no like Discord integration. You're just install Discord. You can use that. It's got a mic already set up into it. You can use another thing too. The access of this console, the price point, how simplified it is, but how much it does. Your peripherals you already own PC wise are just gonna work with it.
Yep, it supports everything.
And they were barely even interested in the idea of even trying to scam you into buying like Valve things. They're just like, oh, whatever, just
buy your games on Steam.
Just buy it and you can use it. Like, what do I need anything special? No.
Yeah.
Just use a dock. You don't have to use ours. And so it's just straight up no bullshit. Like it is what it is, and that's really appealing to me. It's not gimmicky. There's no gimmick outside of like maybe you think, well, just you don't need handheld controller PC. Just buy an old PC, but it is. It's just that it's a tower. So
you're not gonna buy too many full functioning PCs for under $1,000. So
yeah, exactly. I'm just saying like the only argument I can see for like gimmick is that possibly, but it's straight up like no frills. Like it just does what a PC does.
Yeah, I mean it literally costs what an RTX card costs. So
yeah. Well, and again, I wouldn't be buying the $400 model. But for somebody who's just like only plays on Xbox, only plays on PS5, would like to play some PC games with their friends or whatever, it's gonna play just fine. They wouldn't release and sell it at $400. You can upgrade with the SD card too as well for more space or whatever, which makes sense. It's not gonna be the optimal way to play, but is access, and it's affordable access that can allow people to make decisions that could possibly be more difficult at like a the risky range of $600 area of like what Sony learned with the PS3. You don't sell a console at $600 because people are like, I won't touch that. That's a lot of money. Yeah, for Metal Gear Solid 4, fantastic fucking game. But that's why I bought it. But it's $600. It's crazy.
Especially then.
Yeah, I was like, dude, that's so much money. Now I'd be like, are you crazy? But like nowadays, it's like, it kind of makes sense. I don't remember what I was talking about. I think it's a great idea. I think it serves a lot of purposes. And my biggest excitement about this is like, I feel like Valve finally, all the weird little experiences they've done with hardware is finally culminating to something that finally makes sense. It's a little bit of everything they've already done. But it's kind of like the Switch with, and I don't mean that literally because obviously the form factor, but the Switch has all these ideas Nintendo's been fucking with for a long time, but they finally found the package to make it just awesome no matter what.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Got everything the Wii and the Wii U did, all the great ideas. in a cool form factor. It does it better and more efficient, and it's less gimmicky.
Yeah.
And so, you know, like Steam boxes, I'm like, yeah, I could play on a Steam box. I just play on my PC. Steam controller, yeah, I could use a fucking Steam controller, but I already have controllers. And they're like,
too many.
They're like, what about just a PC with like all the functionality that you could possibly want for gaming and other things? It's like, sure, I like PCs, and you made a really small one at an affordable price. That's kind of crazy. None of these things exceed, what was the most expensive one? 600 something? 650? So about $700.
I mean, my brain still just goes under $1,000. Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah, exactly. Anything under $1,000 for PC is kind of insane.
Gaming PC.
Sure, but yeah, you could buy, you know, something for Facebook real cheap. Just use your phone. But yeah, it's really kind of crazy. Especially, you know, you're not going to be playing it. It said it fucking supports ray tracing, which I don't think they'll be dabbling with too much. But you know, if they do enough magic in the software of the game, they can make it work.
Well, it's AMD's ray tracing cards, so that architecture is there, but it's running at 720p, so it'll probably still will be on.
Yeah, but there's also different levels of ray tracing too, because like on the consoles they have it, but it's not as good as PC. Yeah, but still.
And like the card I have, for example, is more designed for like 1440 and 4K, versus like they could be putting in a bottom end ray tracing card in those. So
it's just if you're playing at medium and high, that's pretty good for on the go, and on a small resolution, you're not as in there as like a big screen. So
like they said, you're not going to notice that.
Yeah, because it's at 720 as well, so it's like. I don't know. It's perfect for travel on a big screen though. You're definitely gonna notice it with especially like a more modern game.
Yeah, for sure.
If I want to play like Deep Rock Galactic, that shit's gonna fucking run just fine on there. I'm gonna buy it just for Deep Rock Galactic, and Hunt. Oh, I'd be so sick to just be able to take that anywhere. Man, gone are the days of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna come over and bring my PC. You just bring that with you.
I mean, you're still doing it, so
I know. I'm just about, but you're not like lugging over your
process
mouse
has
and
just
your
changed.
Monitors and all that shit. You just plug it into a TV or wherever the hell you
Internet
want
kind
to.
of killed LAN parties, anyways. But
what a shame. I love LAN parties. Anyway, I'll let Chris get some words in. I just kind of started.
You're not allowed to talk.
Puking up my thoughts.
This is really like the ideal entry level PC for gaming at this point. It just makes sense that a company whose, you know, financial situation is based upon selling PC games would develop something like this to get it in more people's hands at an affordable price, and it means that like their competitors, you know, console games, like in particular like the Switch for the style, might not be interested in buying PCs because they can be really big, and you have all of, you know, the screens you got to buy and the peripherals and stuff like that. This just comes with everything packed in such an excellent and fantastic way of converting between not only if you just want to play it handheld like the Switch, you can dock it and make it a full console. It just blows my mind how easily they can transition back and forth, and that no one has done this yet. And the fact that it's probably as powerful as my current PC, if not better, is kind of just like a kick in the mouth.
An affordable kick in the mouth.
I think it's fantastic. And a very affordable kick in the mouth, indeed. But I think it's fantastic. I think it's fucking fantastic. And I'd like to believe that this is the entryway that we're seeing into a single device being used for gaming, PC, phones, television, everything. Just like kind of this one unit being like this portable device that we have.
I mean, it's all eventually gonna be your phone, but yeah.
Hey, don't take your hobby away, man. I like having a computer.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna go away as fast as it could just because of that.
Right. But I mean, just the fact that you could even, if like I said, if you don't like the system, you can wipe it out and just install Windows on there. I mean, it's literally a handheld laptop, and it sounds weird saying that because a laptop is designed to be a portable PC, but they have made this portable to an even greater extent, and that the fact you could just plug things into it and go is just amazing. It's fucking amazing. The Switch doesn't even have Bluetooth capabilities. I can't connect my Bluetooth headphones to it. It fucking sucks. That's all I have is Bluetooth headphones these days.
Yeah. and has a
I don't have
headphone
a
jack.
plug-in headphone. Yeah, got everything you could want. I mean, and all the extra paddles on it are great for all kinds of gaming. And I'm blown away. This is the first I've seen it, and I'm blown away by what I've seen so far. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, you're a lot more
at
into
the
it than I
price
thought
point-
you'd be. I didn't think you're gonna like poo-poo or anything like that, but I didn't think you're gonna be stoked about it. But like, I've been surprised by the general reaction I've seen. I mean, this thing got announced earlier, and I was stoked. But I was looking at videos of the new Atari console. It's out, and it's getting pretty. It sounds like Ouya 2.0. But for a second, I was like, "Oh fuck! Someone's trying to make a console. That's crazy. I kind of want to buy that." Chevy bought an Ouya, so I mean, he's learned his lessons. But
I still think it was a cool idea.
it is. It's definitely
Literally an
cool.
Android box.
Yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, so new tech, I'm just like, ooh, I want that. But then I was like noticing everybody was excited. I was like, I think Valve did it. I think Valve made, unless this thing comes out and sucks, I think there's definitely some excitement from a market standpoint.
I mean, really, the winning thing they said was that it just works like a PC. It defaults obviously to the Steam stuff because that's, you're going to be more likely if it's right in your face to buy your games through their store, which is great for them. But by not restricting you, they're going to attract the PC crowd as well as the casual crowd.
I'm worried that a bunch of people are going to buy a lot of these and use it for crypto.
I think that's less of a concern these days because of what has happened to the crypto market. That's a huge reason graphics cards are becoming available right now, is that less people are mining now. So
Yeah, I got to look into that because I follow all crypto people and it doesn't sound like it's going anywhere.
I don't know if it's going anywhere, but yeah, it's.
I know that some of the NVIDIA cards are going to have like things that are going to try and stop people from.
It's implemented in the new cards.
But people didn't get around that. So
Sure.
But anyway, I was kind of thinking about that earlier when thinking about the price point and shit. Like if you want to, because people have like PS4 crypto farms. I saw pictures of just a bunch of PS4s just lined up, and they had them rigged up to just mine for crypto. So people do whatever they can to do that. But yeah, I was kind of a concern because first off, that would be kind of crazy and kind of would make sense, but also it will affect people's ability to buy them, which will be in a whole other mess of people thinking, they can't get a PS5 because of scalpers, which is an issue, but not the only issue. And
They did say you can't just buy them outright, though. They're all like reserve only, right?
yeah, they come out in December.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if part of that's also them being able to judge if you're actually going to be, I don't know how to word it, a proper customer. Because I know especially after like the 3000 series graphics cards came out, a lot of retailers started implementing systems to judge if you were like a legit buyer or not, and like Newegg started like canceling people's orders if they were sketchy and stuff. So
yeah, I'm surprised they don't, because you could buy a lot of their hardware through Steam. Be interesting if they had some kind of system implemented in Steam to kind of prove that you've been purchasing stuff and existing on Steam, but then that would kind of scare away new buyers.
yeah.
So
That's
it's
tricky.
complicated, yeah. It'd be interesting to be like, oh, he's been on here for 5 years. He plays actively all the time. Like, this isn't someone just making multiple accounts to buy, because maybe they could limit it to like one account or whatever. Then people just make multiple accounts. So it's like the scalpers got all that figured out. Anyway, Chris, you were saying, unless you were saying something.
I just even trying to think of like the non-gaming sector and the ideas you could use for this. I mean, even schools could use this as an easy means of giving like teachers, laptops. Yeah, but it's hard not to compare this to a laptop because it basically is a laptop, but in a handheld system. But I could just see so many uses for this, especially at the price point you're getting for it. Just there's so many applications outside of just gaming for this. It's mind-boggling.
Well, it's like touchscreen too. It's got the 2 mouse pads. So you can use it fully functioning as a computer without any peripherals attached to it. So, and I'm not talking about like gaming, just in general. So like if you want to like bring that into a place and just kind of plug it into like the screen and present a presentation off of it or whatever, you don't have to bring other things to hook up. You just, use the touchpad
Plug
on
it
there.
and go. Yeah.
So I'm really curious to see what kind of things people will create for something like this, mod wise or just programs in general, since it's just a PC. There's no proprietary thing going on here, so it'd be really interesting. What do you guys think about the name Steam Deck? Does it do anything positive, negative? Don't care.
I don't care.
I think that because it is so close to another product, the Stream Deck, that it helps it because people will get the names mixed up and correct each other and bring that up in conversation.
Yeah, possibly. I was kind of worried it might create confusion for consumers, but there's a good point that if you are talking to somebody who knows what they're talking about, they can correct you, and then you can go, oh, there's two different products I need to spend my money on right now.
Stream Deck will work with Steam Deck.
It will. True. What do you guys think about the design?
I think it's a little ugly, to be honest.
That's what I'm hearing a lot of people say.
Obviously, they're trying to shove a ton of stuff on there, right? So I am understanding.
It's chock full of features.
But it is not it's not what I would look at and go, yeah, that's a product for consumers. It literally looks like a hobby piece almost. So.
I completely understand people saying that, especially because it's not standard and it's designed for like where the thumbsticks are on the D-pad and all the buttons are. It's kind of weird looking, but I honestly kind of love the way it looks, which is really weird. But it's just because all the features I'm seeing on it is exciting to me. And I think it's smart in the way it's designed. Everything is in places that make sense to me. Just like the Switch. I think the Switch is a smart console. I mean, all consoles are smart. Someone made it, but like on a design basis, somebody had to make it work first off, but also the functionality and all that stuff like that. And this seems like it is in that same area as the Switch. It's not as like, I don't know, simple and like to the point as the Switch looks. I think the Switch looks great, but it's very straightforward. But this thing's also offering a lot more features than the Switch when it comes to physicality. And yeah, I don't know. I think I really want to hold one to see what it feels like, but I think it looks really cool. It is very bulky though. It's kind of like the Cybertruck. You look at that, and some people are like, I fucking hate that thing.
I love it.
And then I'm like, I like that thing. But I understand when someone says they don't like it. I'm not like, what? I'm like, okay, that makes
it just
complete
screams
sense.
Blade Runner to me. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
So with this thing, it just looks like an advanced piece of tech. It looks like a modern thing that eventually I think will be a lot nicer looking for sure. But as like the first product of it and what they're telling us it does, I think it looks cool, and I think the design's very intriguing. At first, it's like I said, where those buttons are at are really weird, but the way you're holding it makes sense because in a relaxed position, your thumbs are going to be up there, and you're going to get good movement because you're not cramped in here. So I think it'll work out really well, and then you can use those pads too. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I also like the design. It does, at first glance, make me think of a Sega Game Gear back in the day. The fact that it's a little bulkier looking than a Switch, but I kind of like that because when I'm holding my Switch, I feel like I'd be really delicate with it. I feel like I'm going to snap it if I hold it too tight.
It's pretty thin, which is amazing.
Yeah, but something like bulkier like this and a little more solid looking, I feel like I wouldn't have to be so like light-handed with. Not that I'm going to swing it around and beat people with it, but
could.
I would feel more comfortable. I'd feel more comfortable holding it because, like with my Switch, I very rarely play it as a handheld console, just because I'm worried about bending the controllers out of the sockets.
Yeah. At least if you're walking
the
it,
Gorilla Grip. Huh? What's the Gorilla Grip while playing games?
Those fucking I forgot what they're called, Joy-Cons, dude. They might bust off. They detach. It's not smart. It is very smart. At least if you're walking down the street too, playing this portably, you're just like, oh, I play my PC while walking around dangerous neighborhoods. Someone attacks you, you can like lift that thing like a board and hit him with it, knock him out, and then jump on it and surf out of there. So it's like the perfect form factor for that.
Features.
Yeah. Great features. Great self-defense. That's what Ryan McCaffrey should ask. Like, can you defend yourself with this? And they all, at the same time, yes. That's it. He's like, oh, okay. It's a self-defense weapon. That's great.
Anything's a weapon if you're creative enough.
True. I'm also a huge fan of they're giving you 4 back paddles. That's awesome. I'm a big fan of having those. The only controller that's like, mainstream that's done that in this current gen is Xbox with the Elite Controller 2, but it's like a $200 controller. It's a very I held one. It's very
spicy pipe.
It's a very premium feeling controller, but it does not come with a console. So that's not the standard console. No one else did it. PS5 didn't do it. Xbox didn't do it by default. So it is cool that people keep asking for that to be standard, and Valve is just releasing it with it. And you probably won't have to use them. So once you get used to it too, people are always like, oh, I don't want to. Like, dude, you got used to DualShock. You got used to joysticks. You get used to all sorts of shit. Touchpads in your controller. You can get used to it.
Just use them for push to talk.
Yeah, it's also one of my favorite things to do with paddles is just have one as jump and one as crouch, because then my thumb doesn't have to leave the stick to do those things. But now I got 4 on the back of that thing. That's fucking sick. You can play the whole game back there.
You could jump. What was the other thing you said?
Crouch.
Jump, crouch, and hack the Gibson.
And still have one more button to do something.
Sprint.
Maybe. Pretty accustomed
Toggle
to having
sprint,
that
Flick
on
stick.
the yeah. I feel weird when I hate games that the left stick clicks in and you crouch. I hate that shit.
Yeah, no.
What are you doing? I literally just when we're talking about what we've been playing, I booted up RDO for a split second, so I didn't add that on the list. But that game does that. I clicked in the stick and he got down. I'm like, ugh. This felt gross. Okay, so
Rockstar.
Let's talk about the price point real quick. You get the 64 gigabyte for $400, which is a great price. It's not the one I would buy, and I wouldn't even recommend that to people. But if somebody wanted to buy that, I think it makes sense. It's a very affordable price. You're gonna definitely want to upgrade your memory with a SD card or whatever, but you're not gonna get the fast read speeds, which you would notice. But if you're playing like fucking basic ass games, it's not gonna be that big a deal.
Also, if you play Warzone, it's not going to fit on that one.
True. That shit ain't going on there at all. It ain't fit on most of these. That shit's fucking a terabyte. Then we got the 256 gigabyte at $529, which I think is a really good middle ground. I think I would want the 512 gigabyte at $649, just because under $1,000. I think these are all steal.
Yeah.
Honestly. So all these, I'm like, those are great prices. So the 512 is really screaming at me. Which ones sound more interesting to you? If you, obviously, you're not. Yeah.
I think realistically, the 256 is probably the sweet point.
Yeah.
The only thing, besides obviously just having more space, that the 512 has an advantage on is in that little note there. It says it has an anti-glare, and if you're going to be outside, I think that's effectively a must at that point. But
it's interesting that it has a feature.
Yeah.
That the others don't.
But then the latter two have a feature that the first one doesn't too.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's PC hardware, right? So
yeah,
it is interesting. But I think you want that improved SSD. So I think the 256 is pretty much the starting point. Now, that being said, if you play just a crap ton of like indie games that aren't like crazy powerful, dude, that 64 is a great price. And honestly, is a good point. The only thing I have a problem with that is going to give you like a AAA game to install on it though these days. So
or like 2 to 3 indie games.
Yeah, I would not be. I wouldn't be loading up something like this with a ton of games anyways. I think it's a good idea to install and uninstall when you have something like this. But
that's the model you buy like your kids when you're going on road trips.
Yep.
You just load up Minecraft on that bitch and just hand them that, and there's like shutting the fuck up, and
I think it would kill Minecraft.
Getting blown up.
Oh, that's PC though. You can run shaders and stuff. That is kind of interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the $530 one though is like the sweet spot. I think that will probably be for most people the right point. I think enthusiasts are going to buy the 512 across the board though.
That's me.
So
that's what I want. But I would be completely fine with the the latter ones. The first one, like I said, I don't want to sound like, don't get that one. I wouldn't recommend it, but if that's the one that you're like, I can afford that, I'm not going to do any heavy gaming on there, some indie games or whatever.
Well, if load times aren't a factor, it does have the port for SD cards.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And like, if you're going to pick up, again, Red Dead Redemption 2, fucking, you're going to play some RDO and it has like some longer load times, maybe not that model.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be waiting a little bit. Or My Time at Portia. So that shit loads so slow.
Unless you still have a
Switch.
computer that has an HDD, then they're all going to be faster. So.
Yeah. I wonder if you'll be able to, you should be able to, plug in external hard drive.
They said all peripherals work, yeah.
Yeah. So you could just have a big chunker like I got, this 8 terabyte, and just...
It's not very portable, but yeah.
Jesus.
I think it's kind of portable, and I got the little 6 terabyte down there, smaller than the 8. That 8 one's heavy duty.
I think I have a 2 terabyte that's just USB powered. So
I've never uninstalled anything off that 8 terabyte because I had to.
What? Yeah,
we're
not there yet.
I just went like I just go like, I don't play this and install it.
I'll say I have a terabyte on my computer, and like I am
terabyte's not enough for me.
I'm having to uninstall stuff at this point.
Yeah, I was about to say I got like 50 games installed. It's too many games. Chris, price point?
I kind of agree with what you guys saying. The 529 one is probably the one I think most people are going to go for. It's I think it's the best entry level point because you're getting that SSD in it for loading and stuff like that. I think it's the best bang for your buck. I'm not super tech savvy as far as like computer parts go, but it does sound like the best one overall. I personally would go for the 650 one just because I want that little extra oomph in a console like this or a PC like this.
Mm-hmm.
And comparing it to other like gaming laptops, you're getting a hell of a fucking deal.
Yeah.
I mean, PC laptops are hella expensive. You're looking like $1,500 for a decent PC laptop, gaming laptop.
You're paying for RGB.
This is a great.
Yeah, yeah, that is the starting point for gaming laptops. You can get cheaper ones, but like ones that you are going to be fine for the next year or two, you're going to be starting around like $1,600.
Yeah. So for this, I think the price points are phenomenal for what you're getting for an entry level gaming PC. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. Anything you dislike about it?
The battery life seems not impressive.
It's the bane of all mobile things.
Yeah. That being said, if 2 hours is the minimum point and you're running something, I think they said like 60 frames per second or whatever. There's not a lot of situations I could see myself playing in portable mode for that long anyway, so it's not like a huge deal. But I also, you never know. A good example would be like, even for us, where we live, to fly down to Southern California, that's a 2.5 hour flight. It's not going to make the flight.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of an ideal place to use it is on a plane.
You can do the whole Switch thing though and have a.
I wonder how fast of a charge you would need to
battery
be able to.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be pretty demanding.
Yeah, so that's
but
kind of
depending on what you're doing.
Well, sure, but it is running Linux essentially, and I don't know how power hungry Linux is. So, but it is a big device with a lot of peripherals already attached to it, and then any optional ones you decide to use. So.
That's another thing too, is like the idea of cramped spaces and mobile PCs. Laptops, people take on planes and kind of set up or whatever, but they still kind of like, you're sitting there like, that's more of like a kind of sit in a spot and be able to do, it's a small thing, but it's definitely, another plus to the form factor.
I also think this will be really popular in metro areas where living spaces are smaller because
sure, it's another good point.
They kind of have to be. I mean, immediately off the top of my head, I think of like Tokyo, where like, you live in a closet pretty much. You're not fitting a PC in there. Yeah, so something like that it gives you a PC, and you don't have to like have a huge desk set up for it. So you can just use your television.
True.
Yeah, I was thinking it's a weird one, but I was thinking truck drivers when they're on those long hauls could have this and it would save so much space when they're sleeping in their cab. You know, it's a PC that's held in their hands. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, battery life is the only thing I'd have concern with, but that's literally everything for me when it comes to mobile stuff. So I'm the type of dude that like has it plugged in at all times when I'm using it. I'm curious to see the transfer of energy and how that works.
Yeah, because I had to buy a pretty beefy battery just to keep up with the Switch's drain.
Yeah, I have one beefy battery I've never used with my Switch, but I did buy like a travel battery, and it didn't gain, but it just kind of stabilized.
Yeah.
It.
Yeah, I got one that will
So just prolonged it.
slowly gain on the Switch, but I did spend the money. I bought it specifically for that because I was expecting to use it on a plane. So.
I'm curious how my Jackery battery would work, because it has like a wall plug-in on one side of the battery.
AC, yeah.
And so you can just plug that shit into the side and then turn on the fan, because that thing will run a fucking lamp and shit. It's weird.
Yeah, but it does use USB-C, so it will charge. It has the ability to charge fast. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's valid, and I think that's, like I said, the bane of everything that's mobile, because sadly at this point with phones, they all do the same shit. So what I'm thinking about is like, how long does it last?
Yeah, exactly.
That's my biggest factor. Like your iPhone, your Android, your Pixel, they're all going to be great. So like, how long does it last?
Yeah.
The cameras are going to be great for what they are. So yeah,
Very few apps are like proprietary. Like
yeah, exactly. So battery life. And then one thing I'm not worried about, but it's something I always kind of get worried about when it comes to new hardware. When it comes to screens, how durable is that screen? Does it scratch easy? I hope it doesn't.
I would assume they took that into consideration.
Sure. I get surprised even in modern times when I see screens scratching easy. I'm like, what are you doing? How'd you sell this to somebody?
I mean, the
People
Switch
touch it.
screen scratches, so
It's pretty good though.
Yeah, it is pretty good.
But the Wii U, the generation before it, scratched easy.
Yeah, but even this is a whole different conversation. But the Wii U was probably one of the cheapest feeling Nintendo products I've ever owned.
I think it's because at that time what they were doing, you couldn't sell that console if it was premium feeling.
Yeah,
You couldn't make a tablet console when the Wii U was out. And sell it at a Nintendo price.
yeah. I mean, if you would put a blindfold on me, handed me a Wii U controller, I honestly, if you were to ask me who made it, I'd probably go, dude, I don't know,
Fisher Price.
because it doesn't feel.
Mad
It
Cats.
really does not feel that premium. Versus like if I hold the Switch, that console feels super
Well,
premium.
that's the culmination.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing about the Wii. The ergonomics were good, but the whole thing felt, the visual, everything about it felt afterthought compared to the idea of what the Wii was supposed to do.
The nunchuck part felt kind of cheap, but I think the actual Wiimote was pretty solid.
Here's the only thing that was solid. Little fucking. Anyway, I'm not talking about the Wii. The Switch is the culmination. It's everything about it I love.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Anything about it you dislike, Chris, or anything you are concerned about possibly that we haven't talked about?
No, I think it's just the battery life and the screen scratching is always a concern with mobile devices like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, where's the built-in coffee warmer, dude? Come on.
True. Otherwise, it looks very premium. I really want to get my hands on one, see what it feels like. But the plastic looks really good. Everything about it looks really good. So
It's kind of sad that you can look at it and tell
yeah.
that they used a nicer plastic.
Oh, yeah.
So.
I appreciate that shit. I don't like buying something at a certain price point and it feels like shit.
Well, it's like how people used to only premium products came in really nice boxes, and everyone kind of got the gist that people associate that with quality, and so everyone started using those boxes.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It feels more premium, which is part of the experience. You feel more at home with that as a consumer. You're like, I always buy this nice stuff with the nice boxes. That's just who I am, you know?
No one wants to waste their money, so.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much I've gone through everything on this. Is there anything else you guys want to say before we move into reading comments?
I'm curious in a year where this will be. So.
Same. I'm definitely curious about the future of it, because they're going to have to upgrade at some point until streaming is nailed.
That might not be that far away, but yeah.
Real quick, Did you guys hear about Netflix gonna start offering gaming?
Super smart.
Makes complete sense.
Really?
You know how many customers they already have?
Even though I don't want to go too deep into it, well, yeah, but fucking no one's happy with Netflix, really.
Sure.
Some people. But almost everything that Netflix makes movie-wise, and like 50% of their, at the least, of their roster movies now are all Netflix made, which is really kind of impressive. They're all like made for teenagers. They're like rated R horror movies are made for children. They're like romantic comedies are made for children. Like everything's just like for everybody, but it comes off for like kids. Like what games are they gonna make? It's just like fucking some safe ass Minecraft ripoff and a Fortnite ripoff and whatever the fuck else is popular. They're gonna make a Final Fantasy 14 ripoff. Good luck. Racing game. I
just think
it's interesting though, and you're already there. So
it is, and it's just another person in the space of streaming games, which it's just going to make other people try harder too. So.
It also shows that, and we already know this, but it shows that they know that other people are going to be doing this. They got to get ahead of it.
Yeah,
they got to start doing it now because Amazon's going to do it. Fucking Xbox already doing it. Sony will do it. Nintendo doesn't need to do anything. They can do whatever the fuck they want. They can sell you cardboard.
Yeah, they're in a weird position of privilege.
Nintendo doesn't have rules. They don't abide by the same things everybody else does. And Sony barely does too. Even when people are bitching at them, it takes them 7 years to go, okay, fine, here's a broken version of that. Like, I don't like this. Well,
it's
you
funny.
Got it. Shut
funny
up.
The problems that Sony does have that people bitch about constantly. They just kind of ignore.
They don't give a fuck, dude. They're like, we give you the best, most award-winning games ever. Shut up.
Let me change my name. Here's God of War.
Okay, here's God of War. Shut up. Stop talking. Just play the games you love. But I don't want to have this stupid name I made when I was 12 years old. Well, you shouldn't have made it when you were 12. You shouldn't have been dumb then.
Yeah, how dare you for being stupid.
Yeah. We're talking about Netflix, this. Okay.
Streaming services.
Streaming services.
We're moving on to comments.
All that shit. Chris, any thoughts on that before we move on? You want to play some games on Netflix?
When I see Netflix original, I skip it.
That's all the movies. I've been watching a lot of movies lately, and I'll go on Netflix, and every movie, it just has the Netflix thing on it, and that's one of the biggest determining factors for me to not watch it. Because every time I do, I watch fucking Fear Street, whatever the hell, both movies or whatever that are really popular right now. They're garbage. They're awful. They're made for chill, and they're based off of young adult horror books, I guess. But everyone, IGN's like 9 out of 10. This movie's better than it deserves to be. And I watched it. I'm like, dude, this is stupid. It's really low end bullshit. This is worse than a B movie.
Fortunately, we won't be going too fast into it because infrastructure for internet is not the same for everybody. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's always going to be a factor. Well, it's going to be a factor for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still interesting, though. I'm curious to see what they do with it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let us know in the comments. What do you guys think about the Netflix thing if you want to talk about that? But more importantly, the Steam Deck. Where do you land when it comes to this? Are you excited for it? Are you not excited for it? Are you going to pick one up? Do you see the potential for it? Kind of like with Chevy, like, yeah, I get it. I'm just probably not going to pick it up. Are you not interested at all? You're like, it's a gimmick. It's stupid. And yeah, what do you like about it? What don't you like about it? Do you have any concerns about it? Battery life, whatever. Maybe something we didn't bring up. Let us know everything you're thinking about in the comments below.
I don't like this listening to me.
You better get away from everything that has a fucking microphone on it. If you don't like that, because it's all listening to you, baby. Everything.
Yeah.
You're being watched. You got a camera on the front and back of your phone. It's seeing everything that's going on.
Yeah.
All
smart TVs.
Everything, dude.
Yeah.
It's all. You don't have privacy. Get that out of your head. So anyway, we're going to close out this episode reading your comments. If you like your comment to be read, you can type in #AskTLG in your comment, and we will make sure it's on the show. If you don't do that, I pick at random. Or if the schedule for the episodes has been weird like it's been, I only have 2 episodes to read comments off of, so pretty much everyone's going to get their comment read. As I just go, I'm running out of steam. Just Steam Deck. Yeah. So anyway, we reviewed Minecraft for Game of the Month last month. It's been that long since we've done a Tastycast. And yeah, we reviewed Minecraft. You want to know what we thought of it, what we graded it, all that? Is it worth playing in 2021? Maybe you're thinking. Should you come back to it? Check out that video.
So just type Minecraft into YouTube, you get your answer.
Or watch my video. Fuck them.
I'm not saying you have to watch them. The results are impressive.
True. We got a comment from Simon Writer's Block Randall saying, "Man, you got some bloodshot ass eyes, Seth. That's some berserk shit." 112 degrees is wild. Hungry gets pretty fucking XXX, but mostly around 38, 39 Celsius, and that's near homicidal to me. November born. I'm an average cold enjoyer. Preaching to the choir. We live in an area that's typically not too warm. I can understand thigh obsessions, but thunder thighs in and of themselves don't awaken my inner gamer. TM. Proportionate calves is where it's at. My opinion, don't at me, men of culture. I'm nothing for Minecraft, never played it. It's just one of those games you look at and go, I'm good for me. Have some friends who play it. Pretty sure it has its depth and whatever, but it's just not on my radar. So there's definitely something maybe to talk about there. But I got to address my eyes being bloodshot. So I do this thing called sleep. Sometimes I wake up, my eyes are bloodshot. But sometimes I take a shower. I wear contacts. So I take them out. I take a shower. Something in that process irritates my eyes. I don't know what's going on there. I come out. And then I'm like, it's time to film. And then I look at the screen and I'm just like crazy looking, which is fine because I am kind of crazy. And anybody who watches the channel knows that. But it just kind of adds to the effect. And honestly, I don't give a shit about how I'm looking when I'm doing that. So that's what's going on there. I do believe your reply said that do I use bleach? Yeah. Do you use bleach during shower? Yes. Yes, I do. You get the bloodshot effect, but it brightens the eyes later. It's a trade-off. As for the heat wave that I've already almost kind of forgotten about, it was hot. It's very hot, and I think everybody here. Chris was down in California for a little bit, so he got to kind of acclimate to that. But I think we're all more comfortable in more cooler temperatures.
Man, I don't care how acclimated you are. 110 plus is hot.
Well, for everybody, yeah. And the amount of times I've seen people go, oh, I like hot weather. You're just not used to it. You live in Washington. I'm used to hot weather. And then you go to a place that's hot as fuck, and they're the first one to complain. Every time. Every time. And I'm like, I thought you were used to this, dude. I thought your human body can take this kind of crazy heat that kills people. Because you're in this all the time. Get the fuck out of here. People who live in places like that aren't outside.
Yeah.
Like in Arizona, even Florida. I was watching something recently. Yeah. Some guy's like, we don't go outside when it's super hot.
Why would you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And out there going like, ooh, yeah, I like that my skin's burning. Anyway, quick rant. But and I actually handle heat pretty well, surprisingly. I used to like really hate anything above like 70 degrees, and now it's got to be like 95 degrees for me to start having a problem. Not really a problem, just going like, ugh, I don't like this. But like 80s, dude, I don't mind that at all. 70s is like perfect, but even lower 70s start getting kind of cold to me. During summer, during winter, if it got to 70, it'd be sweating my ass off. So yeah, mid 90s is where I start going like, ooh, it's hot out. But even then, it's not a big deal. Hundreds though, I'm staying out of the sun.
Yeah.
It's too hot. It's damaging me.
I think with
my shields are breaking.
Breeze, I'm okay in the 80s. Otherwise, I am uncomfortable. I'm not going to say I'm miserable, but I'm uncomfortable. But 65 to 70 Fahrenheit, hopefully, is my comfort zone for sure. So I would prefer to be in that all year.
Okay, one thing I want to say real quick, and then I got to get Chris's opinion on temperature because I spoke for him. He should speak for himself. People who do the like bragging thing about like, oh, you're not used to hot weather, bro, or they're like, you're not used to the cold weather, bro. Like, we see snow all the time, shit. It's like, yeah, I'm sure, whatever, but fucking everybody wherever they live, the infrastructure's built for those things.
Yeah.
We have somebody in this community though that's posted pictures of himself in fucking shorts out in the middle of the snow, just
yeah.
having a blast. I'm like, he's the real fucking deal.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, we live in the snow. And then he's just out there in shorts, just having a blast. I'm like, he doesn't even look upset. It looks like he just like literally is.
Drastic difference for me where I'm like peeking out the blinds and I see a snowflake. I'm like, fuck.
Everything's going. It's all going to hell. So every once in a while, people are fucking being realistic about that shit. Chris,
Like
temperature.
Russians.
Well, I'm actually a very big fan of mid to high 80s, to be honest. Living in San Diego was fantastic. I loved it because it was always mid to high 80s. It never really got crazy hot. It would get warm. I mean, you peak in the 90s every now and then, but like it pretty much was mid 80s, dropped down to like low 70s maybe during the winter, if I recall right, and it was perfect. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I like snow. I like snow a lot, but I hate being cold.
Yeah, I don't mind being cold unless it's like dangerously cold, but
Yeah.
that's a different thing. But like I like snow too. I don't like what it does to how society works, but especially in
What it
places
does
that,
to my life.
yeah, I don't like how it hinders things, especially in places that it's not typically like that. But and then heat, I don't mind either. I mean, 80s is fine. I actually really kind of miss the one of my favorite things about going down to shithole, it's California, is the days are warm, but they're not like insanely hot. Everybody acts like it's like 90 to 100 degrees in California all the time. Like, no, LA is like really popular because of where it's located. The temperature is just like typically like the same, and the weather's always nice. So it's like every day you just come out and you're like, yeah, it's gonna be a nice day. It's like rare that it's like cloudy and shit.
Yeah, no seasons.
Yeah, and so it's like the perfect location for that. But I love like warm nights that aren't like I'm sweating my ass off.
I do like the nights.
It's I always love like nighttime, like when I'm down in like LA or something like that, or like Anaheim, wherever the hell. And sometimes we don't get that here very often at all. It cools down significantly at night, but
big
during
time.
that heat wave, except for the days that it was like 90 degrees at night, there was a couple nights where it was like 80 and it kind of felt like California here. And I'm like, it's so weird.
Yeah.
Because it never feels like that. But I do like that. So I'm sure Simon's just like, why are they talking about temperature? This is such a small part of my comment.
It's arguably half of it.
Yeah, true. You fucked up, Simon.
I don't know what the thigh comment is. I feel like I'm missing something
We
there.
talked about
Did we bring up
the thigh girl, I think.
General, or the thick master general?
I think we talked about her. I can understand thigh obsessions. Yeah, I got no thigh obsession, but I mean, I'm not against them either.
I don't know about a thigh obsession, but I definitely like showing them off a little bit.
Chevy's getting spicy in here.
I'm not too spicy.
It's getting too hot in here.
Legs are nice.
110 degrees in here. And then he's not into Minecraft, but he's got friends who play it. Should he play it? I told him he should.
I think systematically Minecraft is a fantastic game.
I think everybody can play it.
Understand that visually can be a huge turnoff for some people, man. And I think there is a preconceived notion that it is a younger audience's game, which is funny because it didn't start that way. It's definitely an all ages game, and there's complexity there that I don't think kids are gonna understand. So,
I mean, I think they will, just because I understood when I was a kid, but it's there's a lot that could be lost on a younger kid for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not as simple as it looks, but it can be.
I also think Minecraft's probably one of the scariest games ever, but that's because there's some crazy losses that can happen.
I gotta get you to play Hunt.
Different kind of scary, but yeah. I always see a joke online about how Minecraft is like the true horror game.
That's only one of those two games will get my heart racing. But the anger of fucking losing your shit. Whew. Anything to say about Minecraft? Should he play it?
I think everyone should give it a try. I think the biggest hindrance for a lot of people is the visuals of it. It looks like a children's game.
You can change that.
There's a lot of you can, but I think a lot of people just getting into it are who aren't playing it is because the visuals of it look kind of like a children's game. But there's a lot of deep mechanics and stuff to it that make it very complex at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think if you don't have a whole lot of interest in survival or creative stuff, though, it could be a little difficult to get into.
Yeah.
But there is other things to do, especially if you're playing with friends, that you could do.
Yeah,
to keep yourself
adventuring's
busy.
fun. So.
Yeah. Yeah, for
And
sure.
And you can technically beat the game, though. If you speed run it, you'll do it in less than like a couple hours. But
Yeah. All right, anything else?
yeah, not really.
All right, next comment. Thank you for your comment, Simon. I was going to say thank you, everybody who
Till next
commented on
time.
that, but it was Simon. All right, well, Maneki Neko said a lot of things, but I have one thing in particular we're going to read as it is a topic that we'll try and be very brief with because this is a long episode. But we got a comment from Amelia. How do you say the last name? Chua? I'm probably fucking that up so bad. She says, Moss Book 2 was such a pleasant surprise. I love that announcement. Oh, this episode is when we reacted to State of Play, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, and Nintendo Switch OLED. We covered a lot of stuff. That was a catch-up episode, and so is this one. So after this, I hope we'll be all caught up and we can talk about current things. But anyway, she says, Moss Book 2 was such a pleasant surprise. I love that announcement. I enjoyed the first so much. One of the best VR exclusives. So she actually played it. Lost Judgment is hype. Leave it to Kojima to bring out a director's cut of a game with new story missions, new combat gameplay, new traversal gameplay, game options with regards to your resources such as building ramps and minigames, shooting range, and what looks like an in-depth racing circuit, rather than something bare bones. Then, of course, the expected PS5 enhancements with haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, performance graphics, etc. All hail Kojima. I'm with you 100%. I'll say it right now. All hail Kojima. I'm with you. Speaking of Director's Cut, can't wait to try out Iki Island expansion for Ghost of Tsushima. That looks like a substantially sized piece of DLC. I agree. I have to be honest, outside of Moss Book 2, Lost Judgment, and Death Stranding Director's Cut, I didn't care at all for anything else. Whew, deep cuts. Dying Light 2, Stay Human, and Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut are still worth anticipating, but those weren't part of State of Play. There was also a gameplay reveal recently for Steel Rising showing off the combat, which I think looks pretty good. That's that game, I believe. Is that the one made by Spiders that made Greedfall? Didn't we watch that one time on a stream? It was like steampunk or something.
We did watch whatever project you're talking about, but I don't remember the name.
I think that might be it. I'll have to look into that. So pretty much I agree with everything you said. Outside of your own preference of not caring about a lot of the stuff, I obviously cared about what I cared about. I had the whole episode on it, so this is about you. It's cool that you are stoked for Moss Book 2, because that's a game that I heard decent things about, but not a whole lot. I never played it. Always interested in it though, and apparently it's good, so that's cool to hear. I'm glad it's getting a sequel.
A whole lot of people with VR, so it is kind of harder to hear stuff about VR games.
Yeah. And I talked about this already, but Lost Judgment, game I'm also very hyped for, but I need to play the first one. The Kojima thing, yeah, I kind of gushed about that already. I'm very excited about that. It's more than I expected from that. But am I surprised from him? No, not really. They did a lot of interesting things with like MGS2, with the weird Xbox version that had like Tony Hawk shit to it and all sorts of weird stuff. So he's always had a flair for not wasting an opportunity to add more content. Although I think it's really interesting. He's talking about how he doesn't like calling it director's cut because director's cut is content that was cut from the movie,
right? And
this is just additional content they're adding. And he's a film nerd, so I respect what he's saying.
It's almost like an artsy approach to saying not director's cut, Game of the Year edition almost. So.
Yeah, for sure. It sounds a little more I don't know, prestigious and cool, I guess. To be like, this is the director's cut. They should have just called definitive edition
or complete edition or whatever. Yeah.
Or something about connecting. The all connected edition. All bridges connect.
Death Stranding.
Oh my god, it should be called fucking BB edition. It should have said
Wouldn't that
BB.
imply it being smaller?
No, BB big. I love BB. BB best thing ever. Let's see. Dying Light 2. Yeah, I'm definitely anticipating that. It's actually one of my most anticipated. Oddly enough, one of my most anticipated games this year. Mostly are all FPSs, which is kind of cool because I love FPSs. It's been a while since I've had big hype for FPSs. You guys have anything to add to this?
I mean, it's mostly opinions, right? So
yeah, good opinions.
I mean,
thumbs up.
They're someone's opinions, and there was nothing in there saying like, this is what I think, and this is against what you think. It's literally me sharing, you sharing, me sharing, whoever,
I'm just gonna, I respect everybody's opinions, but Chevy's opinions, they weren't good. Here's mine.
I mean, I don't care.
Yeah, I wouldn't care either. Someone said something
I just would move on with my life because it's not worth my energy. But
people don't talk like that anyway. That's me. People just go, that sucks. You guys are dumb. Anyway,
that's some smooth brain bullshit right there.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot of people.
I mean, really, the only thing I have a little more hype for than listed here is Ghost of Tsushima. Tongue did not want to move there.
Sushi boy.
And then I have a lack of interest in Dying Light, but that's just not my style of game. So
Dying Light's so good.
I'm sure it is. Actually, I don't have like a negative opinion. I just know it's not. I'm never gonna play that game.
Yeah, so. It's they just made like a really fun game, which is nice. Anything to add, Chris, or thumbs up on the comment?
I'm glad you got a bunch of games you're hyped for. The only one I think I was hyped for really was the Ghost of Tsushima expansion, to be honest.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's weird that the Japanese lip syncing is a PS5 feature.
Features.
That can only run on a PS5.
I think it could only be sold on a PS5.
True. That's what it should have said. This feature's so good it can only be sold on PS5. It's premium, baby. All right. Anything else?
Mm-mm.
Thank you for the comment, Amelia. Please feel free to correct me on that last name. All right. Final comment is one of many Maneki Neko comments. That says, okay, ... Real question. How do you feel about Assassin's Creed going live service? To me, it feels like they just gave that game 50% chance to completely fail, like Anthem, or 50% chance to grow into GTA-style Assassin's Creed, whatever that is. Now, are you guys familiar with what they're doing with Assassin's Creed Infinite?
Not even remotely.
Or Infinity? Okay. There's not a whole lot of info on this. Ubisoft just came out. They had this long spiel about the future of Assassin's Creed. They got different teams they're going to be working on or whatever. And apparently they're just going to be kind of merging all the next experiences of Assassin's Creed into one thing. But they're also making it sound like it's going to be a constantly online experience. And so people don't know what this means exactly. So I have this highlighted right here. They could say Infinite here, but it's Infinity, I believe. Infinity is described as a platform that ties games set in different time periods together. It feels like it could act as a central hub that changes over time and adds new time periods to explore as games are expanded and new titles are released. People are saying that they're doing this in response to games like Grand Theft Auto Online, Red Dead Redemption, or Red Dead Online, other games
names from Halo.
Other games as service type games, or games that have like one central hub to play all the games, like Halo having all the remasters
collection. Yeah.
And so people don't really know what to make of this because they haven't come out with details on what this necessarily means. Outside of you're going to be playing Assassin's Creed in the same place. I really feel like it's to, I don't want to say artificially, but to keep you. It's like when people used to want to keep their disc in your console all the time, so they had all these things to keep you playing the game constantly. It seems like that kind of thing. Like, oh, the new Assassin's Creed come out? You don't got to. I mean, Battlefield kind of does something like that already. You log into Battlefield and it's like, you want to play 4? You can go play 4 right now if you want. And then you play 4, and it's like, you want to play 1? You can go play that. You don't got to leave.
Yeah.
It's literally what it sounds like to me. But also, a lot of people are speculating it's going to be a games as a service thing. They're going to add like multiplayer. I haven't seen anything. I haven't heard anything official on that. But a lot of people keep talking about how they're worried it's going to turn into like the Division.
So yeah, I'm not really a huge fan of speculation.
Yeah.
So from what I know, it sounds like at the very least it is a hub that they're going to release Assassin's Creed content for. I don't know what the size of this content is. Is it going to be full games? Is it going to be like bite-sized pieces you buy? Like, it's weird, right?
It could be
so
a way
like
to fragment content.
Yeah, and what I've been saying for like since God, I don't even know. I was a teenager, I think, that I'm exaggerating a little. Whenever internet and DLC was a thing, that like games like Madden, it's crazy to me. They sell the $60 game every year, and all they do is update the roster. They change the features. I'm simplifying way too much, but like
Those are like making that $60 and you buying DLC every year.
yeah, but they can sell a $60 DLC and keep one engine installed where you just update your roster and get those
I've
features.
said the same
right?
thing about a lot of Call of Duties.
So in some cases, I think those systems make way more sense. I'm not 100% opposed to the idea of them releasing content, but here's the thing. It has to feel worth it, right? You can't pull a stunt like this and make it feel like a bunch of cheap DLC and then never make another full game. People will be livid, and deservingly so. You need to release full-fledged content. Do not cheapen the experience. At the moment you do that, you've made a huge mistake, and you deserve all the backlash you get for it. So if it is an honest, just you love Assassin's Creed, here have more Assassin's Creed all the time thing, awesome. I think there is potential for that to be a great thing. But we'll see, right? What is the idea? What's it going to look like? Ubisoft is responsive, so the moment if it does flop and it is awful, that they'll stop. So
yeah, Ubisoft is if anyone's going to experiment, I'm less worried about Ubisoft, but I do wonder why they make such a big move like this when Assassin's Creed has only been doing better and better and better ever since they went to the RPG thing.
Yeah.
Valhalla has been met with great fucking praise. I don't know anybody who dislikes it. I know people who heard it was garbage, played it and liked it. That was actually pretty regular. So it seems like a weird time to get experimental, but leave it to Ubisoft to do that. For everybody listening, I'm looking at a picture right now, and this guy, Tom Phillips, I'm not sure who that is, has a picture of something that says Helix, news editor, Eurogamer. Okay, so I don't know if this is official or not, but it shows something called Helix, and it has all these different, it almost seems like scenarios that look like different time periods. And it is kind of giving me this idea of like having that hub and going like, I want to play the Paris, 1700 part of Assassin's Creed, and kind of like an ESO when you go to regions, there's different storylines per region. Mm-hmm. When you go there, there'll be stuff, but then later they can add more content to that section and almost give it this like pseudo MMO feel that has that drip of content. But that's the thing, is like what you're kind of mentioning. What kind of content, and are you going to replace brand new fully realized games with these little like constant little updates that aren't really doing that well for games like RDO right now, where people are like, we want like a big chunk of content, and they keep releasing these little things like it's not enough, it's not enough, it's not enough. You see that in MMOs too. It's like people are like, dude, I don't want these like little patches, like we want an expansion. Path of Exile had to learn lessons about that kind of thing. So it seems kind of weird. I can kind of see if they executed on it well enough, it not being an issue, but the move kind of tells me that they're exploring ways to keep a constant drip of Assassin's Creed available to you to keep you coming back nonstop. They can even add like a multiplayer variant that you could just on this menu go play
for sure, and
then leave or whatever. Just kind of compartmentalize it. But at that point, it starts to feel less about like each game has its main character and its main story, and more like you're just paying for the Assassin's Creed service. and you can kind of carte blanche, go through the buffet and go, I want a little bit of this, a little bit of that, which for some people might be good, but I feel like that does kind of cheapen. Like, oh, did you beat the Paris scenario? Oh yeah, 100% of that. Did you hear they added like a new content to that? No, I'm too busy playing the Russian one. Oh, I'm not interested in that. That just doesn't sound like the same thing as like, oh, did you play Valhalla? Did you finish the story? Like, oh yeah, it was awesome. I can't wait for the sequel. Like, it completely kind of changes the whole atmosphere of it. So I feel like other games might benefit from something like this. Assassin's Creed, I feel like, is an interesting choice. But again, this is pure speculation. And it kind of makes sense to me. But at the same time, I don't know if I like it.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's happening. So, I mean, like...
Exactly, yeah.
It is a matter of wait and see what their vision is for it.
It seems like such a weird gamble, though. Real quick, there's a part of this article I was going to read that says, so what will Assassin's Creed Infinite look like? Details of the live service are thin on the ground, but the series' last few installments may offer some clues. Origins added weekly challenges to the franchise, while the well-received Odyssey expanded its adventure with monthly releases of new story episodes. Recently, Ubisoft confirmed Valhalla will become the first game in the franchise to offer a second year of post-launch expansions after becoming the first game in the series to offer a broad variety of different countries. So it sounds like at the very least they're going to make a single-player MMO.
Yeah. Kind of, yeah.
Just adding regions and characters to play as. I wonder if things will carry over. That'd be kind of interesting, but still at the same time it's a gamble, kind of like what Maneki Neko said. It's like 50% could fail, 50% it could be awesome. So really,
it's tricky.
Really, if it sounds like I'm like frustrated by it, it's like I told somebody when I first heard about this, I was like, I gotta see it. I can only speculate. I need to see what they're doing and why they're doing it.
That's why I said at the beginning, I hate speculation most time anyway. It can be fun, don't get me wrong, but like there's no info really.
Yeah.
So.
Chris, thoughts?
Yeah. Well, as opposite to Chevy, I'm a big fan of speculation. I love to speculate things nonstop, but I also like to be a little more informed when I'm making speculations. And there's really not much to go off here. I'd like to make some crazy speculations about things, but I need to see what they have planned. At least, the very least, like a little idea of what they want to do. Other than that, it's going to be like a games as a service type game. Like that, just there's whole different realms of possibility what they could do with that. So it's hard to say. I just kind of wait and see at this point.
Have you? And this isn't like to check if you're a real fan or anything, but have you played any of the Assassin's Creed games like quite a bit?
I played the first one.
Okay.
And then I played Black Flag. I think that's it though.
You haven't played modern Assassin's Creed.
Well, that's not even my full point, but there is a difference. My big point is like, would you rather like one and done beat one of those games and replay it, or would you want to just keep playing that same game with new content added constantly? It seemed like a game that you'd want to do that in.
It's hard to say because the gameplay cycle for the games I have played it's really repetitive, and I just was once I got the story done, I was done with it. If they added new content in the variant of how the game was played, maybe I'd go back and play it again. But at this point, I'm kind of like a one and done.
Yeah.
With the content of the game.
Yeah, with a game like Assassin's Creed, the new locations, characters, and features seem to be some of the shining points, and not that you couldn't implement that in this thing that we're speculating about. But I do think it starts to kind of muddy it, maybe. But then I'm thinking about some of my favorite games that are games that drip content, like Hunt Showdown or Deep Rock Galactic. But those games are not they're not story focused, they're not character games, they're purely gameplay. One game is just you go around, you kill each other, and you level up, and there's got to be new ways to play that. And then another game is a cooperative game where you do missions together, and eventually you're going to need new missions to do and new ways to do them. You make that argument with anything, really, but like, I don't play Dragon Quest 11. And, well, I didn't want that game to end, but I couldn't imagine them just keeping content flowing into that game. I would just want the next Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
I want the next new adventure. So really, I feel like, and again, this could be awesome. I don't know, but I think there is certain games that I don't want even single player games to start going into like a games as a service model. I think there is like I couldn't imagine like Kojima making something like this because he's trying to tell stories and have a finite thing. You can replay it, but like, you know, it is as it is. But then like Ubisoft is viewing other people who are just keeping people engaged in their game, and spending money constantly, and they went in on that. I'm surprised they're not doing this with one of their other properties that's more MMO-esque, I guess.
Yeah. I think Assassin's Creed's success over the years, though, is probably a huge driving factor.
Well, yeah, it's very popular again. People love Valhalla. They see an opportunity there. But that...
Just make it an MMO.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's, I think, even more of a gamble, because you got to hope people will play it. Hyperscape is a battle royale that no one gives a fuck about.
Yeah.
That's made by Ubisoft. And the changes that they made to Ghost Recon, even though I don't think are horrible, that's not the Ghost Recon I really want. I want a more tactical experience, and you can have that, but kind of. It wasn't designed for that originally. So, like I said, these decisions, even though they could seem kind of like, what's the big deal? It starts to kind of change the way they start thinking about the game, and you're going to feel those changes in the development of the game and the way it's made. So it is kind of alarming, but
yeah.
So yeah, anybody excited about this? You think it could like be good?
I mean,
it could be good.
Sure, it could be good. But I think for transparency's sake, there's nothing for me to be excited about. I don't care about Assassin's Creed. I have no attachment to it. So whatever they do to it doesn't affect me in any capacity. So
at that point too, it's more so I'm curious on why they're making this decision.
Sure.
But it is a franchise that I'm not like, oh, dude, don't fuck it up. I'm like,
yeah.
Seems like a weird time to do it because Valhalla did so good. So it's like, why are you fucking with it now? Experiment with something else. But they're a big company. I'm not. I don't make millions and millions of dollars off of these decisions they do. So yeah. Anything else?
Mm-mm.
All right, let's know in the comments. Well, first off, thank you, Manekineko and Amelia, for your comments. Make sure to comment on this video and upcoming videos. You can be featured on Tastycast. Type in #STLG on your comment to be for sure featured. But I want to throw the ball back to you guys and ask, what do you guys think about Assassin's Creed Infinity? What do you think it's going to do? Have you heard anything that we didn't talk about? Are you excited for it? You're not excited for it? Are you skeptical of it? Do you think it could be good, could be bad, 50-50? And what's your general thoughts? What do you think they're going to do with it? I keep seeing people talking about multiplayer, and I haven't seen that discussed. I can see the opportunity and the possibility, but no one said anything that I've seen.
That sounds like speculation getting out of hand.
Yeah. So a lot of people saying it's going to be Division. I'm like, I didn't read that.
I think it literally is just going to be, the Animus.
Yeah.
And they're going to be able to do whatever they want within that because now they have this plot device that allows them to do whatever the hell they want. So,
yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Tastecast, episode 145. Is that what it was?
Yep.
As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Enjoy this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on social media and streams. Links down below. Discord, if you want to talk to us anytime, all the time. Link down below. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. If you prefer to listen to us in audio form, this will be in audio form. All 3 hours of it. And if you'd like to support the channel further than liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing, if you're brand new, you can check out our Patreon. Link down below as well. Thank you, Chevy and Kris, for joining me. And thank you guys for joining me. I've been Seth. And we'll talk to you guys later. Take it easy.